quickly into space. Concepcion, blockers in front, and here he goes. KC says TD.
This is 365 Sports.
Final 30 seconds of the quarter. Second down throw to the end zone. Douglas. Touchdown, Texas Tech. What a drive.
365 Sports is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Sorsby the key. What cut! Broken ankles! See ya!
365 Sports is also brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952.
Another first down for Vandy. Pressure off the edge. He steps up, and now he's going to run for the end zone and score. Diego Pavia.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Brown takes another shot. Wide open Koger. Touchdown, South Florida. 63 yards.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
And it's good afternoon on this Friday as we close out a week, as another weekend of college football has already begun because of games, of course, that have gone on this week, but a bunch tomorrow. We'll have our Big 12 picks, but quite frankly, the story is that Baylor president Dr. Linda Livingstone released a statement late this morning, and it was to say that Baylor is going to retain football coach Dave Aranda following the season. No matter what happens this weekend or next, they play in Arizona and then home against Houston, that no matter what, and she went through some bullet points of why, and even said, listen, we understand that this could create some very negative type of feedback, and went through her reasoning. But the reasoning is they're going to retain Dave Aranda. He's back for his 7th year at Baylor. And yes, I have a bunch of emails that you sent me when I asked about him on Twitter. We all have our opinion. And then I want to get into as well nuggets about, was there really a good decision anywhere for Baylor to make right now when it came to Dave Aranda? Here we go. Dave Aranda, Paul and Craig, back for a 7th year.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that this happened and that it was announced today at all. I mean, I think you had maybe some time to not – to do it maybe after the Arizona game or whatever. But if you made your decision to keep, I mean, I guess, my point yesterday was why announce it? Why not announce what you're going to do or not let these games affect you? They shouldn't affect you. And clearly they didn't, but they felt differently than I did about what they should do. I'm very shocked because there are a great many details here beyond just the football team being good or bad next year, which right now, if I'm reading the tea leaves, that's very questionable. But I'm completely floored as to them keeping him because of how apathetic the fan base is right now.
Craig?
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting. I was surprised by just the announcement itself. Was not anticipating that they would go ahead and make this official today. I thought if they were going to make a move either way, it would come maybe early next week, like prior to his press conference, to just put it out there. Like if they beat Arizona, like just go ahead and say like, hey, he's coming back regardless. Or even if they didn't, just to go ahead and stomp out a final week of turmoil and people speculating. So I was not thinking that would be today, but certainly something that was going to have to come at some point in time. And, to see the email roll in and then to see this lengthy message from Linda Livingstone where she lays it all out as to why they're deciding to make the decision that they have made. I just kind of sat there and stared at the screen for a little bit and let it absorb. And then my thoughts just started racing in 1,000 different directions, as we'll try to touch on many of those. But I get it. Like, I get it, especially because the one thing I have said is, like, if all things are equal, then you move on from him. But as we heard Mac and Brando and various others say, or Max, excuse me, not Mac, Max and Brando and them say, well, hey, you don't have an AD, the timing, the crowded market, those types of things. And then the other blanks that we didn't have filled in was the financials. Like, what does that look like? Especially, we don't know what you're paying Mac on his way out with this agreement. So do you have the money to pay the buyout for Aranda and then go get a new coach and then go get a new staff and do all those things? I didn't know all of that. And this makes me believe that all of those things were too much of an obstacle for them to feel like they could go and make the right move right now. I think if all things were equal, then this is a moronic decision, because you think there's apathy now. You just wait until next year. There's going to be so many more empty seats than there already are. And I've been saying this all along, that if you could make the move, I don't understand why you wouldn't, because I don't understand what you're selling. And I think it's going to be really hard for this coaching staff to sit there and tell guys like, hey, it's basically 1 year bust. And I know that's kind of the sport we live in now anyways, but like, no, really, like this is like the year and that's it. And I just think it's going to be really hard to get the faithful for Baylor up for another year of this.
And let's say he makes decisions on the staff and or with Jake Spavital, whatever he decides to do, whether he's retained or goes somewhere else, and then a Matt Pallage or whatever, are they going into a program or staying in a program where they don't know if this will be going through the same? Again, every year is volatile, but do they know who their coach will be next year? Now, I asked for emails on Twitter, and we're not going to read any of them right now, but we will throughout the show. It's a whole stack of them. I mean, there's people who are angry and some that are like, well, wait a minute, let's think about this real quickly, Paul. Stability during transition. This is Dr. Livingstone. Our next VP and Director of Athletics must have the opportunity to assess the football program and chart its long-term direction. Student-athlete experience. Retaining our current roster, protecting a nationally ranked recruiting class, essential to our future. And financial stewardship. In an era of extreme volatility in college athletics with NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing, and much more, this approach allows us to invest wisely in the program's future rather than incur significant buyout costs during an unprecedented turnover of coaches across the country.
Well, if they think they're going to make any of that money back in a year on the buyout, they're not. Like, I mean, the buyout might reduce, but the thing is that this is a money-losing decision.
But if you were to pay the buyout, can you, I'm not defending the decision, we'll have plenty to say, can you use the money that you would have to have used on the buyout towards trying to increase and get a better talented roster?
Well, maybe, but you're also going to lose like any donor that's not a guy like Jeremy Fudge. Like, you're going to have a lot of the people who are mad enough about it that are going to pull that money back. So you're not going to get you're not getting that money now, no matter what decision you make, now that you've not made this decision. So you've kind of guaranteed there's a lot of people. And to go back to Craig on the fan base, Baylor's default setting is apathy. This is an athletic department that is relatively new to success. Not to say that they don't have these great fans, but as a general rule, like, this is not a sports super school like some are. Like, I would say, like Nebraska, that has just this cooked in fan base of every sport. They're all in for it. They put up with a lot, but it's just in their blood. And Baylor doesn't necessarily have that. Now, they have turned out for great things as Baylor has gotten better and is a 21st century athletic department now, but this sets them back a little bit, in my opinion, because you have a fan base that was already mad about this, and you've dared them to be more apathetic, and they will double down on that.
I think that, again, there are details that we don't have, like what is the buyout exactly and what is the money situation.
It's in the double-digit millions.
Right, but we don't know the rest of the money situation. Mm-hmm. Like, what were they setting aside for this pot and this pot and this pot, and how much is in each of those, and what were they going to have either way, or like, we don't know those things. So I think there has to be financial implications here. I can't imagine that there's not. But to what Paul was saying is, whatever that buyout was, I've seen multiple people that are canceling their season tickets today. I've seen multiple people saying, we're not coming back to games next year so long as he's the head coach. So now maybe that isn't so much that it offsets like the money that you have already, but I don't know how you're getting donors to line up to give you more money to go fill out this roster, unless Jeremy Fudge is just going to, like, him and two other people are just going to put it all on their own shoulders, which is maybe what happens. But as far as like the common donor, the common season ticket holder, I think those people are out. I think they're out. And I think you had to take that into account. And you just said, oh, well, we'll deal with that. And in 2 years, or in a year and a half, we'll get a head coach that brings everybody back into the fold. And I guess that's what you're hoping for. But I do think that you just basically pushed away a good segment of your fan base for all of next year already. And you're not going to be able to count on them to come help you out with this very much what is going to be the definition of a lame duck program in overall. I mean, from staff to play. I mean, this is a 1 year boom or bust thing, and it can't be anything other than that. So how do you sell that? And that was my whole thing from the beginning, was how do you keep selling this? And so now that you've made the decision, I think it was good to go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off and just say, like, look, this is what's happening, rather than let people speculate for 2 more weeks and get their hopes up and go, we're going to get Eric Morris, or we're going to get G.J. Kinney or whatever. I do think you probably did a service and just going ahead and getting it out there. But, yeah, the backlash is fierce.
They've made 2 major decisions in about 24 hours. The one with Mack Rhodes, which we knew was coming, but they did make it. And then also whatever the future would be with Dave Aranda. She does say, Dr. Livingston, we acknowledge the frustrations many of you feel, and we share them with you. All right, that you should put that in there. Now, here are the options in front of her. You guys tell me which of these options were the best of all of them being bad. Finding an AD in 8 days and asking him or her to hire a football coach. Retaining Dave Aranda. Hiring a football coach without an AD. All of them have flaws. None of those scenarios are perfect. All of them are even bad options, including retaining Dave Aranda. So which of those, in your opinion, was the best of the worst?
I think I understand that hiring an AD is actually a little more difficult than hiring a coach, because a coach only has to oversee one sport. That's where an AD has to oversee all of them. But I think that they chose what was the easiest path, which is not always the best one. The easiest path is to let the next AD hire the coach and all of that. Like, I get that maybe sounds like the best and most doable option. But I think the best bad option is to invigorate your fan base by being aggressive. And that's how you get money into this, because what they've done too is screw Dave Aranda and his staff. Because if you are going into a lame duck year, you are not going to get the extra NIL boost that you need to get better players. If any of the assistant coaches have options that are better than Baylor, they will likely take them now, which means he has to get other new assistant coaches, which may not be the worst thing in the world, but who are you going to get that is better than what you have, knowing that they're coming into a lame duck year? So I think they took the path of least resistance because it was going to be harder. And I think that might have happened because a candidate for athletic director that they thought might have been a shoo-in maybe told them no. And that's just my wild speculation. But I think you could get it done if you wanted to get it done in the amount of time that you had.
Craig, which is those options? All of them probably, in most people's opinion, if they're really understanding it, are all not good. Which of those not good are the best?
Read them again.
Finding an AD in 8 days and asking him or her to hire a football coach, retaining Dave Aranda, hiring a football coach without an athletic director.
Which is the best?
Which is the best of all 3 of those are actually bad options if you think about it, but which of them are the best?
Yeah, there's not a good option there. I mean, I think that's the point you're trying to make, and there's not a good option there. And look, I want to say something that'll probably be unpopular for the fans, but like as a human being, because that's what I am first and foremost, like I am, if anything, glad for these coaches, like the assistant coaches and their families, and that they now have stability for a little while longer, because I'm not rooting for firings, even though we kind of are in some way, but there is much more to it than just a head coach. So for those folks that are doing their jobs and doing good jobs, like I'm glad that they have the answer that they've probably been wondering about, like where's my paycheck coming from next year? But I do think that you kind of unraveled something there that I should also mention along with, I think there's clearly financial implications that are in play, but as much as anything, Max screwed this program with the timing of his dismissal and his behavior that led to his dismissal and put them in this pinch where they probably could have found the money if he was the athletic director because they didn't have to worry about paying him. And they could have had a search and he could have gone and hired a head coach.
If Mack Rhoades was still the AD and had not gotten himself sideways, Dave Aranda was not coming
Has
back.
to be gone. Has to be.
Because then you have your AD and he can make the decision, make the next decision of who he brings in. But that eliminated the possibility perhaps because of the timeline.
If Mack Rhoades had stuck around and said Dave Aranda's coming back, there would have been there's no way. There's no way people would have gone for that. So he basically screwed himself. And I like Mac, but it is what it is. He screwed himself and he screwed over the program as well. And he basically handed Dave Aranda a freebie year that he doesn't necessarily deserve. And the fans just are the ones that have to deal with that. And now Linda's telling them all about prayers and everything else. And then, want your money though still? Because now we really need your money. We always need your money. We always want your money. But now we really need it because now you really need to support this team. And guess what? It ain't happening. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. There's going to be donors that check out, but there is no easy decision. And I do think that while there is this financial implication, I'm not so sure this isn't the best decision, whole overview. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for the media having to cover another version of what this team has looked like for the past 2 to 3 years because there's nothing fun about it. But I do think from a practical business standpoint, you could make an even graver error by rushing and just going, let's get both the guys from North Texas and bring them in.
Yep.
And I never.
And you still don't even know if that would have been the answer.
And that might not have worked either.
Yeah.
Maybe Eric Morris isn't as good as you think. And I do think there is something. And as much as people don't want to hear it, and I totally get it, but I do think it's practical. I think the messaging's not going to go over well. And when they ask for more money, again, it's not going to go over well. And this whole, you're entering a lame duck season, barring just some miraculous at the end of the year. They go, just kidding, we're firing everybody, which I don't think is what she's setting up here at all. But I do think to make the best hire, you do need to take your time and you don't need to go, we got 8 days, we've got to make this choice just so we can get Aranda out of here. So from that standpoint,
to beat the rush on the other guys getting hired.
Yeah, and I know Max and Brando were talking about this crowded job market. I think they would have been fine finding a guy, but I do think if you have months and months to prepare and really look at it, then maybe you go find a diamond in the rough that maybe is not on the radar outside of it's Traylor or it's Kenny or it's Morris or it's the no-brainer guys. Then maybe this does open the door where it's Will Stein in a year from now or something like that. So trying to look at it as positively and unbiased as I can from a non-emotional standpoint, I do think this is probably the best long-term get it right business decision.
And perhaps, and I'm not saying it is, perhaps of all the bad options, this was the one that makes sense right now. A couple of coaches. Hold on, Paul. Go ahead.
I have to follow up on that.
Well, he brought up the assistant coaches, and I got a couple of quotes. But go ahead.
To follow up on that point, though, specifically, I think the three of us agree on everything except this. I think sometimes practicality gets you burned. And I've just been here a long time.
Yeah.
And I've watched them err on the side of over practicality so many times.
Sure.
That this hurts the entire athletic department.
Oh, I agree.
All the way down the line. And I think back to Oklahoma State and the Gundy decision. The biggest thing that stood out from that, and we talked about it, you and I, Craig, on a Friday at length, was the AD, whose name escapes me at this time,
Weiberg,
thank you. Weiberg said, look, the landscape of college football is constantly changing, and there's no guarantee for a school like Oklahoma State that we're going to be where we are now in 2030 or 2031. Mm-hmm. This puts you a year further behind that because you are going to not be able to fundraise at a level that's going to keep you competitive. So if you're Baylor, you have to weigh that risk as well and realize that 2030 is not that far away.
It's just around the
corner.
corner.
I agree. And I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with it, but I'm trying to look at it from every angle. And I think maybe that's the most, yes, it's definitely the most practical angle. Is it the best angle? No, maybe not, probably not. But I'm just trying to look at it from every which way. And from that vantage point, you can go all right, I see it. But yes, there's the critique of, well, then you just kick the can down the road. And what if we are, to Oklahoma State's point, you get into next year, Auburn kicks your ass in Atlanta.
With a new coach.
And then they're all excited because they got a new coach, a new roster and everything. And then you're 2-2, and it's the same old stuff. And then you fire him in October. And it's should have just done this back in last October or last December. But I know what you mean by that. And that's the trap. She's setting herself up now. Like she's the one. It's all on Linda Livingstone now.
That was going to say it took some. That she knows that. I would think
she has to.
There's no question. I did reach out to Jason Cook, head of information at Baylor, and actually did back on Saturday, and mainly about the Mac Rhodes and also the future of the football team. And I was told, tough ask. Never heard other than no. And then I did again today, for those of you who have asked, and I was told she's not available today. She's not going to do any interviews at all today. I don't know when she will or if she'll do one here with us in studio or not. Now, I sent text to multiple assistant coaches. They're getting on a bus, probably ready to fly out to Tucson, Arizona, playing tomorrow. One assistant coach said to me, excited to continue to build something special. Now, you can scoff at that, but that's the quote. The other quote was this from a different assistant coach. It's been a big positive this morning from the players and coaches. However, we want to keep the focus on getting a win against Arizona tomorrow. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
They better get a win. If they turn around and then lose tomorrow, and if they lose ugly, then man, that's just going to compound things. And
I don't expect today's decision to impact tomorrow's game.
No,
but maybe there is a little bit of a pick me up, but I still expect them to lose.
But at this point, it does feel from a fan's point of view like, so what next year? They go win like 7-8 games, and is that good enough? Like what is the expectation now? I mean, is it just being good enough? Like that's the other part of this. And so, like best you can do this year is what 8-5 or something like that, and that's maybe possible. Like I don't think it's guaranteed they're winning tomorrow. I don't think it's guaranteed they're beating Houston. I don't think it's guaranteed. Obviously, if they can't do either one of those things, they're going to a bowl game.
They're not going to be favored tomorrow.
No,
they're not,
and
they're not going to be favored against Houston at home, even.
And so. It does feel like it's kicking the can down the road and it's delaying the inevitable. And I know there's reasons as to why, and we pointed some of those out. The timing, Max screwed them and being able to conduct a proper search, the financial part of it that we don't know all the details of, but it is just such a kick in the nuts, just a kick in the uprights for the entire fan base. And I think they've been patient. And I don't think they're always patient, but I think in this case, people have been very patient and have tried to understand and tried to just go with the flow. And man, I just don't know how you can sit there and possibly think this is going to be a move where these people are going to line up and go, well, we love Baylor, so we're just going to support blindly. I think you're past the blind support stage. You're at the, we're not renewing season ticket stage, and that stadium's going to be empty as hell.
I also think that sometimes your reaction immediately is not your reaction in 6 months. But I think in this case, most everybody saying that they're not going to renew, they're not going to add any money, they're not going to donate any money. I think it's not just today with the emotions being surprised that Dave Aranda has been retained. Let me ask you this, Paul, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you saw, I happened to be sitting down at my desk. I was not going to go out of town this weekend because I honestly thought that there would be a press conference Sunday, most likely announcing that Dave Aranda was not coming back after they lost in Tucson. Scale of 1 to 10, Paul. When you saw the statement from Dr. Livingstone in our email inbox, what was your scale of 1 to 10 of stunned?
2. I wasn't stunned. I know this university.
Okay.
I know what they do. Look, I'll just go back, and I hate to bring it up, but I'll go back to the scandal. Trying to blame it all on Art was the easy way out.
Yep.
That was the easy way out, and it got him burned. And I felt for Linda Livingstone because I also know how this university reacts to decisions, or this the alumni react to decisions they don't like from the president. They fired David Sloan over the logo. The logo. Like, that was just a sticker. This is a guy. And this is the whole athletic department. And then I told you this when we talked on the phone. Kim Mulkey's voice is in my head, which is never a great thing.
Pal!
But Kim Mulkey will bitch about every single thing in the world. It's what she does. You saw her last week complaining that nobody went to cover their game in Tulane because they were following the LSU football coaching search. And I was like, man, you're just tone deaf, Kim. It's how she is. But one thing she did, and one thing I did learn from her, and we talked about it, she and I at length, just privately, was how much a hot football program, a program that you're excited about, helps every single other sport.
Absolutely.
And so right now, you have a men's basketball team that is pretty good, not great. You have a women's basketball team that's pretty good and not great.
Except in the last 5.5 minutes of a game when you're winning by 5.
Yeah, they're pretty good, not great. So they need that push from everywhere around to get to greatness. And because they aren't getting that from football, like you're bringing recruits here on trips to football games, and they're sitting there with less students than normal. Look, next year, the Baylor line will be just that, a single file line of kids walking out there.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I think all the freshmen get hot and toddy like in the opening game, and then there's like 2/3 of them are gone by week 2, home game. Craig, scale of 1 to 10, when you saw the note, I'm going to give you my answer too, but what was yours when you saw it?
I'm like Paul, it was a 2. I was surprised that they made a statement on this Friday. Like, that was the only part that surprised me, but the retaining of Dave Aranda didn't necessarily surprise me. If you ask me my opinion what they should do, my opinion was they should move on and start anew. On what they would actually do, I would very much be like, I could see it either way. I don't know enough of the details to make that call myself. Like, I would need to know the money. I would need to know the confidence level and being able to conduct a search in 8 days for an AD. And I would need to know like what the plans were behind the scenes. So without that, like, yeah, I thought it was 50-50. So yeah, the only surprising thing was that they went ahead and just bit the bullet and put it out there. And I think that does allow the team to just go play a couple games and go into the offseason and maybe the postseason. We'll see if they can get one more win. But yeah, I wasn't shocked by that, but I did feel like the ramifications of like, oh man, another year of this, like, oh boy.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I saw it come down, and I was like, they would never announce that he's not coming back the day before and the day they're flying out to a game. It wasn't like he was under any kind of pressure outside of wins and losses. So then I went, you're kidding me. Because also Baylor has been known for releasing those particular type of statements at 6:31 after the local news or even after our talk show or what we do now with the podcast. That has happened too. So I was surprised. And then part of me was like, well, we at least know the answer, right? We knew them. We got the answer from Mac Roach pretty quickly, and everyone got the answer on Dave Aranda coming back maybe a lot earlier than perhaps they thought. Here are a couple of notes I received. I'm not going to read all of them, and I can't read all of them or all of even one of them because they're so long. This is from Christopher. I am pissed. I graduated in 87, my sister 83, my brother-in-law in 82. Everyone is done with this. We love Baylor, but she is accepting mediocrity, the president, asking the fan base to accept it as well. There needs to be a commitment that if this thing starts next year like it did this year, he should be gone quickly. They should develop a list of candidates and ready to pull the trigger.
They should have already had some. Like, this is what I said all along, that I didn't know if they had it, but Mac always told us, like, any AD, it's just like Logic 101, that you have a list of candidates for any job that might open up because of tragedy or scandal or losing or whatever the case may be. You need to be able to pivot on a dime. And Linda Livingstone should have had a list. If she didn't, then she should. And if she does, then clearly they don't feel confident enough to pursue it at this moment. But yeah, I think they better hire one hell of an AD who better not be some, well, hey, everybody, I'm glad to be here. They better get a rah-rah dude that can find some spirit to unleash in this fan base, because it's as dead as I've ever seen it in the many years I've now been here. Like, this is, and I know you've seen worse, Paul, but
I'll tell you, Craig, this is worse than Guy Morris. Because at least at Guy
there were no
Morris,
expectations.
At Guy Morris, they were actually like, well, I get it. They have to move on. But people were kind of appreciative because Guy Morris is the first coach since Grant Taft who had the balls to, like, say, this is not acceptable.
Right. Well,
and so
yeah, they also had not experienced any level of success besides Taft, really. So then Browse would come and unleash this thing that nobody knew possible, and Rule would pick it and carry it. And then Aranda for like a year did it in 21 and hasn't done it since, basically. So, yeah, man, it's They better make some big time hires.
Here we go from Eric. This is Eric. I think we had no other choice. Too many teams with better pedigrees than us looking for coaches themselves, coupled with a $17 million buyout, at least that's been reported, left us stuck. At least he's somehow being able to recruit pretty well. We got from somebody in the chat, I can't think of the name. It says, you guys are not paying attention. Linda made the right decision here. We have said this could be a dangerous decision. It might be and probably is, but we said at least she damn sure made the decision and didn't sit on her butt and not make a decision.
Whoever that is in the chat, I'm willing to be wrong.
I literally just said 5 minutes ago, this is the logical decision
and
we're
that's what I
talking
did,
about.
I'm willing to be wrong. And look, I'm maybe the most adamant of the three of us about how wrong the decision was. But I am willing to be wrong in it. Hell, I hope I am. I mean, like, I would love for everybody involved to do this. But the way I look at this from a macro standpoint at Baylor is your fan base are your shareholders. And you are the CEO of the corporation if you're the president. And you had a rough year stock-wise. Your stock price is tanking. It's tanking. It's tanking. It's tanking. And then at your best, it's leveling off. And then you're at the shareholders meeting, and their big question is, what are we going to do to get back where we are? And then your answer is the same thing.
Yeah.
And
just trust us.
Yeah, just trust us. And that's going to get people selling your stock.
But I think maybe you just joined us. So, like, we've covered, I think, every angle already. And I've said it might be the most logical choice because of the timing and how Max screwed them from being able to do a proper search. If he was still on board, they probably move the other direction, but they don't have to eat his contract and a head coach's contract and a staff's contract and then a new staff's contract. And so, yeah, appreciate the feedback, but it's just, it's a very unpopular decision, but time will be the one that tells whether it was the right decision or not. Nobody knows right now whether it's the right decision.
Yeah. Chris Bartles, a president shouldn't have to make this decision, to be fair to her. Also, my reaction, this is no name, is that, and this is coming from a fan simply because I live here, it's a joke. It kills the program for the foreseeable future. It almost always seems like they just don't give a damn about what the fans may think.
I do think that they can't react to every fan whim because then they would just be all over the place all the time. So, but I understand that, hey, we'll finally give you black uniforms again, but it's our version of black uniforms. And we'll give you this again, but it's our version of, it's never exactly what you want. It's what we think you want and a little bit of it. But the other point there, I think was very valid by whoever said Linda should not be having to make this decision. You're right about that, but now her next is going to be the one on the line because that's what Mac, who is ground zero for this entire thing, basically this whole situation, that's the situation he put her into, and that's not fair to her, but that is the chain of command, and so that is a valid point.
She is the president, so she does have a big say, but this was not a decision that she was going to make, but had to herself. I'd love nothing more. This is from another email. For this to be, for the fans to take a line in the sand, students, fans, alumni take a hard stand and force change. I hope this story isn't being told. So there we are with yet another one. And there's others we have too, the reactions to it. What?
Zach Barnett.
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I was telling Brandon we're going to get to him. We have tried from the beginning. Dave Aranda is back. He will be the head coach next year at Baylor. Dr. Livingstone released the statement earlier today about 11:30. They're on their way to Tucson. They play tomorrow night against Arizona. He will be back. And I would think other than after the game tomorrow in Tucson, the next time we'll hear from him is going to be Monday with his presser the week that they play Houston. Dr. Livingstone not available today. Not sure when she will be, but we will, when she is, have her on this show. Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. Zach, well, this is one that's off the table. Your thoughts when you saw the release, the statement from Dr. Livingstone that Aranda is coming back?
Not terribly surprised. And when we saw the news that Mac was out earlier this week, it was my initial thought was, okay, well, that's good news for the short-term viability of Dave Aranda at Baylor, because how do bad decisions typically get made? Through bad processes. And I heard you guys debate before I came on, and I think there's valid points to be had on both sides. I'd like to add that the Baylor program that exists today is not the Baylor program that was a cellar dweller that what I grew up with. I think this is a really good program that by a lot of people that have built this program over the last 20 years into where it is. So I think the appeal in the coaching community of this job is going to endure. So if you were a diehard Eric Morris person, he takes the Oklahoma State job, then you missed out on him, and maybe Eric Morris is some generational coach, and we'll look back on this 10 years from now and say, wow, what a mistake that was. But I think a bad process would have been, all right, well, we need to get Dave Aranda out to go get Coach X. And so we'll just go get him, and then we get that ends up being the wrong hire, or we get held over a barrel contract-wise because we're in a desperate position. I think on its face, taking time, getting the right AD in place, and then potentially going in and get the right head coach 12 months from now, that's a better process. Time will tell if that ends up being the better coach, but I think Baylor in this day and age is always going to be able to go out and get a good coach. Is it going to get the coach? No one could possibly know that, but I think Baylor in time will be able to go out and get a really good coach whenever that is.
I understand all that, Zach, and it's just maybe I've been around here so long. I've seen them err on the side of the most practical and easy so often. I think there are larger things at play here than just the football program, and they are taking a risk on putting themselves another further year behind the eight ball because Baylor's one of those schools that's in a Power 4 conference right now that is not guaranteed a future. And if they continue to kind of kick the can down the road and don't make their fans excited about football again, I think it could be pretty risky. Can you tell me how I'd be maybe wrong on that?
I can't sit here and say that if there's some break off that everyone seems to fantasize about, that's the wrong word, but it seems to prophesize about, and Baylor would be left behind. I can't sit here and say that won't happen. I'd be pretty surprised if we look back to, in the event of that happening, this decision being the catalyst for that or something like that. Like, I think if Baylor's ever left behind, it won't be because Dave Aranda stayed 1 year too long as the head coach. I think it'd be because of structural issues that Dave Aranda or anyone else couldn't possibly fix.
Zach, do you think this frees up Oklahoma State as far as just not competing for the same types of candidates, and just sort of where do you feel like the lay of the land is with the Cowboys right now? And was there any crossover that's now eliminated by the fact that Baylor won't be in the job market, not even for that job, but potential other candidates across the country?
Yeah, I've been told by someone in the agent community, not his agent to be clear, but just this is the scuttlebutt, was that Eric Morris was at North Texas, was heavy into that Oklahoma State job, and would have preferred Baylor if given the choice. So perhaps Eric Morris is not the only candidate for that job, and perhaps Oklahoma State goes for someone else. I know Alex Golish he's a former GA there, is heavy into that job. Colin Klein's been mentioned. Kane Womack, the Alabama defensive coordinator, seems to be the other quote-unquote finalist for that job. I had an Oklahoma State source tell me that that job's been open for a while, obviously, and they want someone that could be there as close to December 1st as possible. And so perhaps North Texas plays their way into the playoff, and Oklahoma State can't wait another 3 weeks, and they move on to Golish, and then Morris is available this time next year. Too early to say that. But I do know that if you're looking for crossover candidates, because obviously Oklahoma State, Baylor share a lot of attributes, and then Eric Morris is the one that I've been told would have appealed to both jobs.
You made the comment where they had that wilderness after Grad Teff. Reedy was there, had one, maybe two decent years, and then, of course, my God, it was terrible with Roberts and Steele. Guy Morris, it gave him some credibility and was turning the corner. Then Art came in, and he's the one that was the Energizer buddy. Yeah, they have the facilities. Everything is here. They just got to make better decisions on the roster and try to be committed, not asking for a Texas Tech commitment or a Texas commitment, but a commitment to win and make sure the roster is competitive and even more than competitive. You agree?
Yeah, and the Big 12 is a tough conference because, it's said all the time that the top and the bottom are as close together in this conference than any other. So it's a tough conference to be averaging, I'll put it that way, because you're going to play a team similar to you 7 times a season, whereas in other leagues, depending on how your schedule falls, if you're in the Big 10 and you're average, you could easily go 7-2 in league play if you get the right schedule. So I could certainly see the consternation among the faithful that wanted Dave Aranda out. And if you're a transfer portal player, why commit to Baylor? I guess if the money's there, then you're going to commit to Baylor. And if most of these guys are making 1 year decisions anyways, So if you're convinced that Baylor's is the best opportunity in 2026 to get you to where you want to be in 2027, then I don't see this being a big effect on you. But if you're a high school recruit that ideally is looking to play somewhere for the next 4 years, and you have the opportunity between Baylor and somewhere else in the Big 12 or an SMU, then this is probably not the ideal situation you want to be in, considering everything going around Dave Aranda right now.
So, Zach, do you take into account, like, if you're Baylor, the fact that there's so many open jobs? Like, should that be a factor?
I don't think so. I'll say this: if you have an AD in place and you have someone, it doesn't even necessarily have to be your AD, but someone with the scepter of power that's going to run your search, I don't think it matters. I don't think the Auburn opening, the Florida opening, the Penn State opening is going to affect Baylor one way or the other. And this time next year, if Clemson and Michigan and USC are open, I don't think that's going to affect Baylor. You're going after one specific guy, 2, 3, 4 specific guys, and there's probably not a whole lot of overlap there. If you're a Baylor fan dead set on bringing Eric Morris to Oklahoma State, then to Baylor, then the Oklahoma State opening obviously concerns you. But I think if you identify the traits, the type of person you want to go after, and then you make a move if you're convinced you can get them. The total number, I don't think, affects you unless you're throwing your job open with absolutely no idea where you're going to go, and then that's a bigger problem than the number of other openings.
Zach, if there's a polar opposite of the Baylor campus, I would think it'd be in Blacksburg, Virginia, where they introduced James Franklin officially after a couple weeks of rumors that it was trending in that direction. I know that we give like these grades immediately, and sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong, and the coach you think will be an automatic isn't, but could they have hired possibly a better coach there for the Hokies?
I mean, I wrote the day that James Franklin was let go at Penn State that he could go get the Virginia Tech tomorrow job the next day, and it'd be a good move for both sides. And I still believe that. But I'm just going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, because we're all sitting here praising this job, and maybe it all works out, this hire, and maybe it all works out the way we want. But James Franklin struggled to develop a coherent passing game at Penn State. And we all remember the Notre Dame semifinal last season when they didn't have a single receiver catch a pass in that game. And then you bring back Drew Aller, you invest heavily in wide receivers in the portal, and your passing game doesn't even look that great this year. He struggled with game management. He struggled to beat teams of equal talent than him. On its face, probably none of those are going to get better at Virginia Tech. So if he's going to fail, or if he's going to succeed at Virginia Tech, he's going to need to grow in those aspects and do a hard look in the mirror at how he develops quarterbacks and wide receivers, how he hires his offense coordinators, how he manages games. Because at Virginia Tech, you're going to face a team equal or greater talent than you far more often than you did at Penn State. So I know there's been so many hires where like, oh yeah, that guy's going to work out, and then it doesn't. So I still think this is going to work out, but if it doesn't, then we have to remember that James Franklin's bringing the same pluses that he had at Penn State to Virginia Tech, and also the same minuses.
Zach, back to the pool of who Baylor would have looked at, and Eric Morris, Jeff Traylor, G.J. Kinney, and maybe a handful of others. They really have never gone out and gotten the big fish. Bryles was at Houston, but still that was not a big job, although he had a big name in the state of Texas. Morris, no. Roberts, no. Steele, no. None of those. Do you think they'll ever have a chance to do more than just find like a diamond in the rough or a name of a coach that's moving up the ladder rather than moving down?
I'll say this. The rumor that I'd heard this week was that Lincoln Riley to Baylor was something that could have happened. And I tended to believe that was just wish casting. And hey, wouldn't it be funny if this happened? USC currently has the #1 recruiting class in the country for the class of 2026. So to think that he'd bail on that was fanciful. So I never believed it, but there are people out there in the community, so to speak, that did believe that. So
I had heard that too. I honestly had heard that was more than just some throwing it up against the wall and hope it stuck.
And Lincoln Riley's going to go coach in Eugene this weekend for a shot at getting into the playoff. And USC's not even eliminated from Big Ten championship game consideration if they win Saturday. So we'll see. I mean, I think the Art Briles hire, the Matt Rule hire indicate really good processes. And I would not be so concerned if I'm Baylor looking for a search this time next year potentially with making a splash hire. I'd be much more concerned with making the right hire.
I'm not even going to give you a full sentence here. I'm just going to say a name and end it like a question. Lane Kiffin?
I expect an answer. I fully expected an answer by now because whether it's Florida, LSU, Ole Miss, they all just need to know whether it's going to be them or not, and then they can move on with their lives. So I'm surprised that we haven't heard anything, and I've been on Lane Kiffin watch since I woke up this morning. And the latest info that we've all gotten at Football Scoop is there's belief in all three campuses that they're getting them. So Lane,
is it Schrodinger's cat?
I'm going to be honest. I've heard that before, but I don't understand it well enough to fully explain yes or no. But Jimmy Sexton and Lane have done a great job of playing the game. They played everyone like a fiddle because I swear to you, all three places think they're getting them.
So Schrodinger's cat there's a cat in a box, and the cat is both dead and alive because you don't know you don't know either way because it's in a box and you can't observe it. So technically, there are three schools that believe that Lane Kiffin is their next head coach.
Yes,
at the same time.
I as of 3:46 Central Time, I believe that to be accurate.
Zach, Deion making it kind of clear this week that he intends to come back, right the ship at Colorado. I think there's been a valid amount of just wondering about him due to his health issues in particular. But any surprise that it looks like he'll be running it back in Boulder as of right now?
Yeah, I think a fair amount of surprise because they've just been flat out dreadful, non-competitive throughout much of this season. And obviously we're all sympathetic to Deion's health issues. But I recall that Deion also does not recruit off campus. And I don't think there's a single other FBS head coach that could get away with that. So I think Deion's not getting away with it because his team's not competitive. And Rick George, the AD that hired him at Colorado, is on his way out. So they're going to have a new AD, and how that dynamic is going to be when you're head coach, when you're a brand new AD at Colorado, and your head football coach is way more famous than you and a way bigger personality than you. I don't pretend to know, but he's going to have to do traditional head coach things to build a winning team, because a lot of the portal guys that they've taken washed out of their other places for a reason. He's got an all-star staff in terms of what these guys did on the playing field, but like these guys are not the cream of the crop in terms of FBS or assistant coaches. So if nothing changes in regards to how Deion builds his staff and his rosters at Colorado, then nothing's going to change on the field.
How much must these rumors, speculation be bothering UT in the portal, or people trying to get their players for Sark to have to continue to respond to what's being reported, or a dumb comment by Desmond Howard?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Sark, it's gotten under his skin a lot because we wrote about his comments on Wednesday, and then wrote another article on Thursday. And then my boss called and said, did we write the same article twice? I was like, no, it's two different quotes. He talked about this 2 days in a row. So safe to say it's gotten under his skin. I'd like for Sark to be as honest and forthcoming about other failings and that have happened under his watch this season. This has been a massively underachieving season for him, and I'm sure he's looking forward to turning the page. But again, he's got to change a little bit of how he's done business from last offseason, or from this offseason, from last offseason, because their underachievement is entirely self-inflicted.
Zach Barnett, footballscoop.com. Anything else, Craig? One more?
Yeah, man, I want to ask you about a game before we let you go, because that's really what we're here to talk about. But obviously it's coaching hot seat season. I mean, you've got USC Oregon as probably the biggest game on paper. Mizzou and Oklahoma as well. Oklahoma with these two incredible back-to-back road wins. But either one of those tickling your fancy, or is there another game that's kind of top of mind rolling into this weekend?
Yeah, USC Oregon. I'm excited to watch that one just because both these. It's a pure elimination game for both these teams. Missouri's eliminated. It's an elimination game for Oklahoma as well. But I'm fully in. I'll believe it when I see it with Lincoln Riley. They can go on a road and win one of these tough Big Ten games. Oregon's number 6 in the nationally in rushing offense, but Indiana went there and largely shut them down. So if USC can do the same, they'll have a great chance. But I need to see a Lincoln Riley team go be stronger and tougher than a Big Ten team or Notre Dame before I can actually predict it's going to happen.
Zach, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. For those that don't know, and they should because it's under his name, footballscoop.com. It's a great website for not just coaching carousel, but they do keep up with it. Thank you, Zach. Have a great week. End.
Thank you.
Thank you. Zach Barnett with us at footballscoop.com.
I do have something I want to read from Keith Carter, Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics at Ole Miss, that came down in the last 30 minutes or so, even less than 30 minutes, actually. So Keith Carter, and tell me what you guys think about this messaging. With all this talk about Lane Kiffin, just talked about it with Zach. Everybody's talking about Lane Kiffin. And as he mentioned, all three programs involved here, LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss, all think that Lane Kiffin will be their head coach next season. But they do still have some games to play, the Egg Bowl front and center, and then obviously you've got the playoff and all of that potentially as well, the rest of that journey. But here's what he says. Coach Kiffin and I have had many pointed and positive conversations regarding his future at Ole Miss, including meeting today with Chancellor Boyce. While we discuss next steps, we know we cannot lose sight of what is most important, our 6th-ranked team that is poised to finish the regular season in historic fashion. Despite the outside noise, Coach Kiffin is focused on preparing our team for the Egg Bowl, and together we want to ensure that our players and coaches can concentrate fully on next Friday's game. This team is on the cusp of an unprecedented season, and it's imperative they feel the support of the Ole Miss family in the week ahead. An announcement on Coach Kiffin's future is expected the Saturday following the game.
Well, that ultimatum thing seems like it's true now, but maybe not. Maybe it wasn't those terms, but that doesn't – if he's going to stay, just say it now, right?
You would think so, unless the only reason to not do that was to set this up to be like the biggest Ole Miss middle finger to the rest of the SEC and a statement to the country of like, we're not going anywhere. Like Leo DiCaprio and Wolf of Wall Street, like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason to put off a decision that says you're staying.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin would do something like that. Lane Kiffin would also drag this out to just dig in a dagger into two other rival SEC programs that now you can go and you recruit against and go, do you see how LSU and Florida were like slobbering over? They were begging me to come there, but I'm here. I'm in Oxford, baby. Why would you? Like, those programs.
And you're recruiting against them and vice versa.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you say. Just say to a recruit. So from that standpoint, yeah, you keep dragging it out and you make it that much more damning for those two when you just waste their time for another week. But yeah, if not that, and it's just going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm staying, then yeah, he's going to have a lot of new enemies. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. I don't know. And look, he's played this up to the Lane Kiffinist level that you can do it. You know, here's the thing about Lane Kiffin. He is as Lane Kiffin as ever, but he's not the most Lane Kiffin he's ever Lane Kiffin. And we'll see that in a week.
Yes, I guess we will.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion.
I got my earrings. I had my hearing aids. I want to make sure I heard that correctly, but you're right. Yeah, he's done a Kiffin times 10.
I mean, yeah, he's definitely being Lane Kiffin. That's what we can say about that. And it's not the level of being fired on a tarmac or, you know, these various things that have happened in his life. That's a long time ago, but he's still very much Lane Kiffin and being involved in stories that practically no other coach would be involved in, or sagas in this case, I think is probably what it feels like to the programs that are involved. So there is the statement from Ole Miss's Vice Chancellor for Intercollegiate Athletics, apparently a Lane Kiffin decision because they want to focus on the Egg Bowl, will come after next Friday's. It's a Black Friday game,
Yep.
Ole Miss and Mississippi State. So the following day on Saturday, there will be some official announcement one way or the other, I suppose. But, yeah, I don't know what to believe.
And in a striking reversal for most Black Friday policies, this will not be a sale.
You're right.
Yeah.
No, price is higher than ever.
It will not by any means be that way. Let's see, catastrophic. These are some emails that I asked for on Twitter about today's decision with Dave Aranda, with Dr. Livingstone's statement that he's going to be retained. Catastrophic decision by Baylor leadership. All they had to do was add this line: "We are keeping Dave Aranda through the end of the football season, at which point we will let our new AD assess the future." That's it. That's all they had to say instead of throwing a Molotov cocktail into our dreary, dry barn of an exhausted fan base and lighting the firestorm. All right, when we come back, the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to make our Big 12 picks. We'll also today take a break from some of this. Mickey Spagnola at 4:30 on the Cowboys in their game with Philadelphia coming up this week. And yes, we'll have a lot with the wheel, the quizzes, the super chats, Paul's top 5. This is 365 Sports. Petty Clinic, lowt.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, used to be. 1 out of every 3 or 4 men have symptomatic issues of low testosterone, and maybe it's not you, and I hope it's not. But if it is, you'll know these are some of the symptoms. Your energy is just not the same, and it's not because you had a long weekend or you traveled. It's day in and day out. You just don't feel like locked in and good. It could be your sex drive. It could be your performance if you do have sex drive. It could be that you've gained a little belly fat. Think about this, even though you're kind of you're pretty fit and also active. All of those things can contribute based on low testosterone. Contact Dr. Petty at pettycliniclowt.com. Tell him I sent you. He and his staff will set you up to get your blood work, get the results, look at the overall totals you have at testosterone level. And if it is too low, he can put you in a program to increase your testosterone level so you can become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, and used to be at pettycliniclowt.com.
Batteries Plus has teamed up with the Dallas Cowboys as the team's official battery recycling partner. Batteries Plus doesn't just sell batteries, they recycle them too. Customers can bring in all lithium batteries from power tools, power banks, and small electronics for a chance to win Cowboys tickets, a VIP experience, and more at qualifying locations. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
My go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf cart batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Golfballs.com carries the latest selection of golf balls, clubs, and gear from brands such as Titleist, TaylorMade, and Callaway. Golfballs.com remains the world leader in golf customization. And of course, online at golfballs.com.
UBO Business Services. We are a studies-based service organization that is the best in Texas when it comes to copiers, printers, and scanners. The way we quantify that is through a company used by millions of corporations called Net Promoter Score. What Net Promoter Score looks at are your Google reviews. We have a better Net Promoter Score than H-E-B with a 65 and Ritz-Carlton Hotels with a 70. According to Net Promoter Score, if you're a 70 or above, you're considered world-class in customer service. UBO Business Services is an 86 when it comes to Net Promoter Score. You can find us at ubeo.com, ubeo.com.
You don't want to miss our best price deals during the Black Friday sales event at Allen Samuels. This month, you can save big on the truck you've been looking for, like the new Rams. Designed to be durable, functional, and stylish, Ram trucks give you that first-class feel. With premium options like luxurious leather trim seating, surround view cameras, and more. Shop our great selection in-store or online today. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, raise your cholesterol, and cause weight gain. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results. So if you're tired of being tired, call or go online at pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $165 a month, including lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, and follow-up visits, compared to $300 or more a month in Dallas or Austin. And you don't have to drive 90 miles one way or the other and fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T has board-certified physician consultations and will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone. Contact Petty Clinic Low T for increased energy, improvement in sexual desire and performance, mood, concentration, even a decrease in body and belly fat. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, pettycliniclowt.com.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Oh, good one.
100%. Batteries for my fleet of trucks?
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels. We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Max Olson on with us yesterday, and he was talking about how there needs to be a website that shows the tiebreakers or what is next or who can clinch and the scenarios. And 25 minutes later, the Big 12 released a website that had the tiebreakers. Here are the scenarios coming up. Golly, I cannot read that at all.
I'll get it for you.
Please.
I got it right here. But yeah, I definitely want to thank the Big 12 for listening to this show very clearly. Perhaps it was coincidence that less than 30 minutes after Max and us talked about that you popped up that website. But regardless, we will take credit for it. And so, yeah, shout out to Max Olson and the Big 12 for putting this out there promptly. But that top line is the teams that are still in contention. And I like how they did that. They faded out the logos of those not involved. So there are technically right now still 6 teams that can reach the Big 12 title game. Arizona State, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, Texas Tech, and Utah. Those are the 6 teams that can still reach the championship in Arlington, although the percentages are obviously varying wildly. And as of this weekend, they only put out these 2 scenarios because there are only 2 teams that could actually clinch one of 2 spots this weekend, and that is Texas Tech or that is BYU. So for Texas Tech to book their trip that just seems like it's inevitable to Arlington, it would take a Arizona State loss and a BYU win because Texas Tech doesn't play this weekend, right? So they're not even in action. So you got an Arizona State loss and a BYU win. And I know we're going to get into our college football pick'ems, but Arizona State's at Colorado. So that's something that I don't think you're banking on them. But, as Jeff Sims goes and throws like 3 or 4 picks in the Rocky Mountains and maybe, that's not entirely impossible. And then a BYU win at Cincinnati. And that's the biggest game in the league this weekend. So that's not a guarantee, but that's what it would take for Texas Tech. Or the other scenario for them is a loss by Arizona State and Colorado, a loss by BYU at Cincinnati, and then a loss by Utah, who is hosting K-State this weekend. So that seems like it's probably not all that realistic.
But it's nice to see that where you could look at it and go, oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I said to Max that it was a no-brainer they should have something like that ready to go just so it was clear-cut and people don't have to go to some randomly put together GeoCities website that some fan had to put together to give you the scenarios. It's very clear-cut on what you need to do if you're a BYU fan or a Texas Tech fan or somebody on the outside looking in. So that's the scenarios for Texas Tech, who doesn't play an Arizona State loss and a BYU win, or losses by Arizona State, BYU, and Utah, and that first one seems far more likely. So you're looking for Arizona State to stumble and then BYU to handle their business on the road in Cincy. BYU, meanwhile, can clinch their spot with a win over Cincinnati, plus losses by Arizona State, which would be at Colorado, and Houston home against TCU. So it's not entirely off the table. TCU's got to play a lot better, but that's not entirely off the table. Or the other option for them would be, again, you have to beat Cincinnati for this to be realistic. But then Arizona State, again, losing to Colorado. But instead of a loss by UH, the difference here would be you would need Utah to then win at home against K-State, which seems like that's pretty reasonable, and that's something you could feel pretty good about. So that's the 4 scenarios that could clinch a spot for 2 teams this weekend, Texas Tech and BYU, and you can find that at Big12Sports.com. They just had that up yesterday.
And I think it's Big12Sports.com/tiebreakers.
Okay.
I think might be. But yeah, go to that main website. But that's neat to see because you get a lot of this, oh, my God. And there it is, right there in front of you. And if one of those things doesn't happen, that scenario's out, at least for this weekend, on someone clinching or not.
It's wild that Houston still has a chance, or that even ASU still has a chance. And I would figure, I mean, the ones I feel good about BYU and Tech being the game. I think Utah has a sliver of a spot, but they would obviously not have that until possibly next weekend. So, we'll see if Tech or BYU can clinch this weekend given those scenarios right there.
All right, Paul.
I would love to see it get crazy. I don't know if I would, but I mean, like, at least be entertaining. But I know that Big 12 fans have to be thanking the sweet Lord above that they are not going into the last 2 weeks if you're a fan of the top 6 teams in the ACC right now.
Right, yeah. Well, if you wanted to get crazy, I think you're rooting for Arizona State to beat Colorado for one, because every single one of these scenarios needs a loss by ASU. All 4 of them include ASU losing. So if ASU wins this weekend, I don't know what that does exactly, but it would be, I think, one of the things that would unlock even more craziness heading into that final weekend potentially. So that would be your disruptor, I feel like. And then, I mean, obviously Houston's still involved, so if they were to win, I don't know what that would mean, but that would keep them alive. If Cincinnati were to beat BYU, then that really throws things for a loop. So, yeah, if you want chaos, root for ASU, root for Cincinnati, and I think that alone would probably – and then a Utah. I don't know if that would, like, eliminate them entirely, but the ASU and Cincinnati wins, that would be a way to unlock some further chaos.
Now, speaking of that, there are games this weekend. Those are some that Craig just brought up as far as in the tiebreakers. So how do we do this? I don't even know if I did picks last week because I think we ran out of time Thursday and I wasn't here Friday.
Are you okay today doing a 5th day of the week on the show? I mean, are you – as your stamina all right? I mean, You've had like one 5-day week the entire season.
I have an envelope underneath my laptop with $10 for your lunch money, and it's gone.
I'm actually asking out of like concern for you.
Fatherly concern, yes.
I will not do the show next Friday.
Okay.
Well, yeah, neither will any of us.
Or the next no. We had a friend, he's no longer with us, a great guy, Butch Henry, and he all of a sudden just stopped doing Fridays and never really said why. He just could.
I'll tell. Well, I mean,
no.
So he could.
He could.
I don't want to ruin the story, but yeah.
He's Butch. All right. So, yes, I'm fine. I've actually I've been at an adrenaline rush week because a lot of things that I do during football season, high school, a lot of those disappeared. Now, I'd rather be doing a game tonight, I'm going to go watch a game tonight. I'm going to go watch Longview and DeSoto at Waco ISD Stadium.
That traffic's going to be something
I know.
Else,
I'll figure it out. Now, and thanks to Ed Trocum for helping set that up for me to be on the field. Here we go. Paul, Kansas, and Iowa State.
This is kind of a tough one, given the fact that both these teams, by their own admission, are disappointed with the way the season went. I'll take Iowa State at home, though, because if Kansas gets a lead, they probably won't be able to hold it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the Lance Leipold formula so far. Had the loss to Arizona the last time out, and ISU had gone on their slide, but was able to right the ship with that win in Fort Worth against TCU, which I didn't really see that coming. I thought that slide would possibly continue, but TCU, as we'll get to, is just so erratic. So this game in Ames, I have more faith in Iowa State being able to close it out and close it down than I do in KU right here at the moment. So, yeah, I would take Iowa State at home to go and get win number 7. And KU, if they do not win this game, then they got 1 week. And was this not the scenario like last year where they had to win the last game and Baylor beat them?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Kansas is at 5-5 right now. They've got this trip to Iowa State. And do you know what their final game is?
Yes.
Utah.
The buzzsaw, the human ball of razor
So
blades.
Lance Leipold need to go ahead and get this one tomorrow, but I'm going to say that he doesn't, and that sets up a must-win at home against Utah to try to make bowl eligibility. So, yeah, give me Iowa State.
Their losses are against teams that, Texas Tech, Missouri, Cincinnati, K-State. They got blown out by K-State, even when they weren't playing all that well, and then they were beaten, of course, by Arizona. Most recently, I'll take the Cyclones.
Yeah, their wins this year, you beat West Virginia early on, which I don't know that you'd beat them now, like with Scotty Fox. I think I'd take West Virginia, but yeah, they crushed West Virginia earlier in the year. So, they beat UCF in a close game.
Right.
They beat Oklahoma State.
Yep.
Like, those are their 3 conference wins, so it has not been a very impressive year.
I would have not lost a lot of money if they didn't make it last year, but the Jalen Daniels. But this year, I thought they were going to bounce back and have a 7-5 or better. All right, next game. Baylor and Arizona.
Oh, I'll take Arizona in this one. I don't think that Baylor will be able to stop them. They've been playing well all year long. They're at home. Baylor's record away from the friendly confines is not great. Their record at the friendly confines isn't great. It's why we had this whole discussion at the beginning of the show about retaining Dave Aranda. So I'm picking Arizona just for all those facts.
I will take Arizona. I do think this is one of those games, like typical of most Big 12 games, where it really would generally be a coin flip, but given sort of the directions both are heading at the moment, I do wonder if there's not like a rally for Aranda, and this team just plays really well because of the news today, and now they have that off their plate. The coaches can just coach, and they just kind of let it rip, and they know that it's not going to affect the big picture. So I could see where they do that, and they actually play well, but man, Sawyer Robertson's just not had a good year. I don't care what the numbers say. We saw him last week. He was all over the place, and that's not the first game where he's been just wildly throwing it everywhere. They are just horrific on defense. For a Dave Aranda team, that alone is a fireable offense, how bad they are defensively. So I think Noah Fafita will be able to throw it around. I think that home crowd will probably spur the Wildcats on, and they got a defense that can definitely limit and give Sawyer and company some problems. So I'll take Arizona.
How are they going to stop Arizona with Fafita and company with the defense being the way it is? It's like a 6.5 point favorite, Arizona. No change. I thought maybe would it be a half a point or so with the news today, but it really had no impact on that. You will probably get some juice because no matter what we think of Dave Aranda, the guys, it sounds like they love the guy from just
then
what
play
I've
like
heard.
it.
Then play like it.
Yes.
Don't wait until your back's against the wall. Don't wait to have to win the last 2 games to finish above 500. Don't wait till now to go on the road to become bowl eligible. Go play like it. If there's juice, we'll see it early. Will they have enough juice to hold on to any kind of a good start? I don't know.
I also would caution anybody from using the players really seem to like a guy for a reason not to make a change.
Right.
Because there's a
Absolutely true.
There's a wide, like you should, whether a coach is a nice guy, a hard ass, or anything in between, you should see how the players respect a coach. Because I do think that a lot of the younger guys don't know the difference between respect and like. I don't think they.
You know what they like?
Yes,
the money.
Yeah. So do we.
Sorry, I had a coach today tell me that obviously loyalty's out the window. Not completely, but it is. Even if you have a team that's pretty good or not, it's about the money and what's next for them to get more money.
Yeah, they're going to have as hard of a time maintaining some of their roster as anything, but that's a conversation for another
day. All right, Baylor and Arizona, we all take Arizona, correct?
Yes.
Houston, well, they've been at times up and down, but look what their record is and what Willie Fritz has done, and they have TCU. They are in need of a win.
I'll take the Cougs here. I think they're just solidly on both sides of the ball, more consistent. I don't think that they're better on offense than TCU can be, but TCU is just wildly inconsistent. They're I think TCU and Baylor are going to very likely be in the same situation next season, waiting out a coach and to see how things change or don't.
Yeah, I don't buy
TCU not quite as severe, but
yeah, I don't buy the whole like the job market prevented them from making a move, because I feel like they could still have gone and got Eric Morris, unless Eric Morris said, no, I want to go to Oklahoma State or something. But I need Garrett Ross to get on the mic, because he's the guy who follows Houston closer than anybody. I have a weird feeling like this is a TCU bounce back game because they kind of need it and they're due for it. And at the same time, I can see Houston's defense just giving Hoover all types of issues. So how do you feel about Houston TCU in Houston?
This is one where I could see TCU sneaking out a win just because of how things have gone. Both of these staffs know each other really well. I know, like, going back and listening to Willie Fritz earlier this week, he had a lot of praise for Sonny Dykes and what he does, even talking about like going back to this connection with Spike Dykes and stuff. So I know there's that. But on the field, if you look at what Hoover's been doing, he's got, I believe he's thrown 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions.
Yeah, he's
over
a turnover
the past
machine.
3 games.
Yeah.
This defense for Houston is going to lock him down. I think they get the pressure. I don't see TCU's offensive line really being able to hang in the trenches with Houston. Now, can Connor Wigman actually play good? Because as of late, he's kind of, defenses are starting to catch up with him. He's starting to make some bad decisions as well. I like Houston to get the win, but I think it's probably a 1-possession game where you see the Cougs pull it out late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to pick TCU. I'll go with Houston. Garrett's convinced me, but I do think that, this is a toss-up. But yeah, I kind of feel TCU. Screw it. I'll just go TCU. It doesn't matter. I'll go TCU here.
Are you really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go TCU.
I'll take the Cougs. They don't have really much home field advantage because they struggle with their fan base too. But I just think Willie Fritz's team is so fundamentally sound. They're going to blow a tire occasionally because they're still young, but I do like Houston at home.
But there's always an upset.
Oh, sure.
In this league. So I think this is going to be the one where it's a slight spread. But I am with Paul on, and I've been saying this now for a couple of weeks, just reading the TCU fan base, that, yeah, it's very likely that Baylor's competing with TCU for head coaches next year if Sonny Dykes doesn't get the schedule. Because you talk about the honeymoon being overdue. That playoff was a long time ago, and they've not really done a whole lot since then. That's been remarkable.
Yeah, and so was 12-2 in a Big 12 championship the year right before that. So you're right. They're both in kind of like, where are we? Who are we? What are we going to do about it? All right. Paul, Houston?
Yeah, I took Houston.
Craig, TCU? I'll take Houston. Now, Kansas State. I just never know. I always knew who they were. I don't know who you are.
Well, I know.
And I'll take Utah no matter what.
I know who Utah is, a team that's going to run through Kansas State at home. Look, here's the other thing. Let's throw another team a log onto the fire of Big 12 coaches that next year will be doing this. The fan bases, will we, won't we, what's the future?
Bubba, we might throw Leipold on there as well. Like both the Kansas schools, both the private Texas schools, like all of them, you can go start forming a line for next year.
I'm going to fight all of you.
And they will all be, and look, they will all be fishing in the same pond for their replacements.
Somewhat,
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, like,
who's the coach at North Dakota State that's going to go to K-State? Yeah.
But and look, maybe they don't want to do that again because that's what they did the last time.
Yeah.
Colin Klein, fellas.
Yeah, Colin Klein,
well,
exactly. That's going to be a big thing. And I just think Utah's too dominant up front for Kansas State.
Kansas State is just not a good football team. Now you lose Jace Brown, who's one of your best players, and that's like, dude, could you possibly kick us down any further? And we can't. Jace Brown's going to now be out for the season, so. Yeah, give me Utah without much hesitation whatsoever, at home especially. So yeah, I go Utes here.
They're on a momentum down the tracks, a lot of weight right behind them, and they're rolling. I'll take Utah.
And look, this could be one of Avery Johnson's last games at Kansas State, in my opinion, because I think that he's I don't think he is. He's getting close to the end of his eligibility, and he hasn't gotten better. And
I think there's a lot of Big 12 quarterbacks, Brendan Sorsby, that are probably already fielding offers, and would not surprise me at all to see them in the portal making a move somewhere else.
What is he? A redshirt sophomore? Junior. Okay.
He's a true junior, yeah.
How about this one? Stunned that it's not on ABC, and I'm not making fun of the programs, but these are two teams, Oklahoma State, UCF in Orlando.
I'll take the Knights in the bounce house. Just like – Oklahoma State's out of guys. Like, they're literally just out of guys. UCF has guys, Like, that's what I'm breaking this down to. They've had a lot more positives in the season. If Oklahoma State's going to win a game, this would likely be the one, but they just don't have players right now. Like, they are bare bones.
Yeah, and to clarify, Sorsby's a redshirt junior. Avery's a true junior, I believe is the case. So, they both have another year to go. But give me UCF. They've got a lot of issues Scott Frost is going to have to work through in the offseason. A lot of things to question about just the program overall, but they're in a better place than Oklahoma State, who's basically been riding out the inevitable for the last 6-7 weeks now at this point. So if UCF were to ever have a guaranteed type of a win, it would be this game, although Oklahoma State just nearly beat K-State last week. So I wouldn't take them lightly by any means, but at home, you better beat Oklahoma State. You better not be the streak breaker, or that is a really, really bad loss for Scott Frost.
Yeah. And I think everyone understands what he's trying to do there, but you don't need to lose to a team that hasn't won a game in the Big 12 in 2 years?
Yeah.
So going back to before the loss to Baylor in the Big 12 title game, I believe. So almost.
I think it was to Texas.
Was it to Texas? The following year? Okay.
All right. BYU, and I like this one here. Cincinnati, I think we've discussed, were they broken by Utah? Still ought to be a hell of a game. Cougars on the road. They have to keep winning to play Tech in the championship game. Cincinnati, man, they looked like they were red hot, and now all of a sudden they're on a 2-game losing streak.
Well, we picked this game yesterday anyway, and I picked BYU, so nothing's happened between then and now to make me change my mind. Unlike my Louisville SMU pick, which Louisville's injury report dropped today, and my God.
No running backs, right? Is that the case?
No running backs. Miller Moss is questionable.
Should have picked SMU like I did from the beginning.
No offense, but he's questionable even when he's healthy.
Yes. So, all those things. I was thinking a Jeff Brown special was coming up, but I'm going to fall under 500 again. So, but this one I'm not going to change.
Greg?
I am going to go with BYU here. I do think Cincinnati has a shot, but only if Brendan Sorsby plays his ass off and plays like the top caliber type of quarterback that he can be. He has not been that of late, and so I think that, it's a scenario where I'll go with BYU, who's just a little bit more tried and true and proven, but this isn't a slam dunk by any means, but I do feel confident that BYU will roll in there and get a win.
All right. Do you have, Brandon, what I sent you about what's going on this weekend in Cincinnati? Did we put that up? I'm taking BYU. Look at what's happening. This is from a viewer, Steve Snook, who's a huge Cincinnati fan. This weekend in Cincinnati, first of all, the downtown Heritage, they're having the big old party. Then they have a playoff game. Then tomorrow they've got Big Noon on campus. Then they have BYU and Cincinnati at Nippert. Patriots Bengals on Sunday. Miami Cincinnati Inter Miami soccer on Sunday. A loaded up weekend. He was excited about that. Wanted to share it. Great to see you, Steve. Thank you very much. Enjoy it.
Quick smoky soccer quiz. Why is Inter Miami the most popular team?
Because of Messi.
Yes.
There we go.
Are you even serious?
I just wanted to make sure that you knew.
No, I did know that.
I mean, if anybody knows anything about soccer right now, it's probably that specifically because it's been a pretty big story.
Yeah, I almost said Pele. But
and he's the greatest maybe of all time. So somebody's like, maybe he is the greatest. So, I'm not going to argue over that. But, Messi's definitely brought a dose of soccer excitement that nobody else has really ever brought to this level where it's being talked about on a regular basis. But
since they had Pele and some others joined like 30 years ago, you're right.
Where it's actually got legs to it and it's lasting.
Pele was 50 years ago.
Yeah. Well, this is like me also confusing where how long ago the Big 12 title game, because that was 4 years ago. I went and looked. Oklahoma State's last win, I do believe, in Big 12 play was 20. So I don't know why I was thinking 20. I think I was thinking that was like 2 years ago when it's actually nearly 5 now. But I think the last Oklahoma State Big 12 win was double overtime at home against BYU in late November of 23.
Yeah, when they first joined the conference.
So that was the last time they won a game. But
thrilled by UT.
I think that's great for Cincinnati. They've had a lot of attention this year. I mean, they've had the big national shows stop by, and they've had a lot to play for. And I think it's started to slide a little bit here of late, but this is a great opportunity. And you talk about turning the league on its head. Well, they could do that with a win over BYU, but I'm gonna go with the Cougs here.
All right, we'll get to the next game. Katie Rader brought up David Beckham. I don't think he's had that impact that Messi's had. We know who he is. and his wife, but not like
David Beckham's never won a World Cup.
Yeah.
like all those things.
Well,
like
when
Messi,
he joined I guess it would have been the Galaxy, right? Or was it a different LA
it was
team?
something
But
like
yeah,
that.
there was some to do about that. But I think the big difference there, and it's a good point because I forgot about Beckham coming over, was Messi got the social aspect where it's like it's just covered so much more from every angle worldwide than it was when Beckham was playing
My
MLS.
oldest brother would watch video on YouTube of him playing for hours. He loved him so much.
Beckham has more celebrity.
He's a tabloid guy
behind it.
Yeah,
than
Hollywood.
Pele.
He's more Hollywood.
Pele. I was just looking at Pele. It was 50 years ago. But Messi, he was. He's an absolute champion. He's the best. Like, there's only two other guys you could probably say in the entire world that are in the conversation.
David Beckham's not in the conversation for the greatest of all time.
No,
Lionel Messi is arguably that guy. Yeah.
All right, one more game to get to. We will have Mickey Spagnuolo around the corner. Arizona State, the Sun Devils, in Boulder against Dion in Colorado.
Oh, man. I'll take ASU. They just seem to find a way, even with all the injuries and everything. Now, they do have this whole Sam Levitt situation that's become very interesting here this week. There hasn't been much follow-up on that, so I don't know if there will be more discussion about that potentially in the post-game press conference, but Colorado's reeling. There's something to build around there with Juju, but ASU's been the better team all year, so I'm not going to suddenly give Colorado the benefit of the doubt. I'll take the Sun Devils on the road.
Same. Sun Devils.
Yeah, Sims has done a really nice job of protecting the football, and they're good. They're good enough that if he does that, because we've seen him everywhere he's been. He's got a 4-turnover game. I think he's in a nice little groove, and I think they win the game against Colorado because they're better. Even if Sims was to turn it over once or twice, I'll take Arizona State. So there we are. Paxton was trying to get me to take Colorado. I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope Dion is back and everything is good, and he said he is, and I really like to listen to him. I've said that too many times.
Yeah, Jeff Sims with just one turnover here in the last couple of weeks in a pair of wins. He's been protecting the football now. The numbers aren't great. Like, the completion percentage is pretty awful from the next to last game, but he's been able to run really effectively. And when that against Iowa State wasn't clicking for him, he was able to run for 228 freaking yards.
Oh, he had like a 90-yarder in that game.
Yeah.
It looked good. In fact, I saw this guy running down the field. I didn't even realize it was him. And then I was like, damn, we've always seen and heard about that. Fight on. I would take Cristiano Ronaldo. So there we are.
Yeah, I mean, that's the debate, right?
Yeah.
Man, we really want to get into the weeds and get people fired up, get Ronaldo Messi conversation.
Here's
so we should have mentioned him, but I'm glad that you did.
I also didn't mention Diego Maradona because I don't know how much
He's
cocaine.
no longer with us, I don't think.
Yeah, in the past.
But I don't know how much the cocaine helped him.
He was amazing, though. He was amazing. Okay, we started the show today and brought up the statement, the release by Dr. Linda Livingstone at Baylor about retaining Dave Aranda into the future after the year, whether it's in 2 games or a bowl game or what. We went into it pretty deeply. We will probably touch on that again. We will touch on that again, and I'll read a couple more of the emails that I received today. So we have hit that. In case you're joining us going, hey, what about Aranda? We went almost an hour on that from 3 until 4. And
we'll be all over
feedback from you, the audience.
Yeah, we'll be all over it moving forward. But go check out like the first half hour of the show. We kind of unpacked it as best we could before pivoting to Zach Barnett and getting his thoughts as well. So really it's like probably the first 45 minutes of the first hour. You can get a lot of thoughts on Dave Aranda once the live, or I guess if you can rewind right now.
Yeah.
You can go right now. I have that segment posted right now, specifically if you want to go to our YouTube channel and check it out. 33 minutes long, everything they said about Aranda.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you. Great job doing that. So if you want to go, wait till after the show's over, of course. And please hit that like and subscribe button. But there you go. Yeah, and we'll be talking more about it, rest assured. With whatever happens, we'll react to it.
All right, when we come back, Mickey Spagnuolo, DallasCowboys.com. Cowboys look like they got the cavalry back, but also some of the newbies because of the trades. They have Philadelphia this week, and we'll discuss that game with him and more. This is 365 Sports. All right, here's what the Baylor alumni has set up for not this weekend, but next when they play Houston. And who knows what the crowd's going to be with the news of Dave Aranda being retained, but they will have what their normal setup, the tailgate and much more, food from Milo, which is a local restaurant that does a great job, water and much more, food, fun, festivities, music, and even a pregame show. The Baylor Alumni Tailgate will be at 11 o'clock, not this Saturday or tomorrow, but a week from Saturday. Also, if you are a Baylor alum or donor or fan, and you're not in the area, let's say you're in another state, but you're having something you're putting together that is Baylor related, you can contact Paul Thorpe or Doug Furch at Baylor Alumni for more information on how to promote your event. Doug Furch and Paul Thorpe, the Baylor Alumni.
I'm Camille Johnson with Camille Johnson Realtors. We specialize in selling residential real estate agent all across our community, and we love serving all types of families. We have been in business at Camille Johnson Realtors for almost 9 years, and I have been a residential real estate agent for almost 40 years. And we love our partnership with 365. So thank you for partnering with me, and thank you so much to all of my clients who have made our company a success.
No car payments for 90 days when you bring your auto loan home to Genco. Get 4.79% for 48 months and make no payments until 2026. Plus, get entered to win 3 months of no car payments. Bring your auto loan home to Genco. Lower your interest rate, save money, and no payments until 2026. For details, go to GencoFCU.org.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
I've known Mickey Spagnola since the early 90s. At a Cowboys training camp, we went out to dinner at an Italian place in Austin, and we've known each other that long, but I have to reintroduce myself to you, sir.
Yes.
Because it seems like you've been picking the days when I'm busy and not doing the show. How you doing?
Or you're picking the days to be busy when I'm doing the show.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Mickey Spagnola covers the hell out of the Dallas Cowboys for DallasCowboys.com. Is there the game with Philadelphia to open the year, they had chances. They just couldn't finish. Philadelphia loses Lane Johnson. They're kind of bickering at each other. They don't seem to be like fluid, but they keep winning. Who are they? Are the Cowboys additions with what they've done with the cavalry back and injuries and trades? a much better team.
Yeah, I think so. And remember, in that season opener, the Cowboys only lost 24-20. And let's factor in a couple things. Dak, that was his first football game he played since the end of October when he suffered the season-ending injury. They brought in 2 new running backs, Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders. So those were their first games with the Cowboys. And they made other moves, on the offensive line. You started a raw rookie, Tyler Booker, at guard. Your starting tackle and your starting center were just starting their second year, so it was a pretty young group. George Pickens was going to play his first game with the Cowboys. And if you went on the defense, they had a lot of newcomers, Kenneth Murray, Kaiir Elam needing to start, Reddy Stewart, who was a second-year player but who had not played hardly at all his first year. And so, yeah, they had a lot of new guys. But look at them now, David, with the addition of Quinnen Williams. I got my list over here. Logan Wilson, DeMarvion Overshown, Savon Revel, Jadeveon Clowney, Kenny Clark, and having Donovan Ezeraku and Shamar James, now seasoned rookies, not raw rookies, making their NFL debut. It's almost a new defense, and it's a little bit more seasoned offense. So, yeah, and I understand that, what happened with Jalen Carter and the spitting deal and everything, and he didn't play. But the Cowboys had guys missing or didn't have some of the guys they got here right now. So I think we get a better idea of, you can say, well, it was the Raiders. They held the Raiders to their season low, or the Cowboys season low, 16 points. But they played better. So now we're going to get a better idea of just if this defense that had been ranked in the bottom 30s, in the 30s with yards against and points against, have they indeed improved? And I think we get a better indication going forward.
Mickey, I think that, there's 2 ways to look at the stretch run here. Let's see what happens against Philadelphia. And look, Dak seems to always play well against the Eagles. I know there's a couple outliers there, but his record against them is pretty stellar. So he does good against them. I think they're probably his favorite one to play, if I had to just guess. But the defense has a lot of new parts that are exciting. From Quinnen Williams to Siobhan Revell, DeMarvion Overshown back, like all these things that haven't even played a real full game together because some of them are unlimited snaps. So let's see how that goes together and then judge it on that, because I think especially if you told Matt Eberflus, who spent a whole offseason planning for having Micah Parsons, then right before the season starts, it's like, oh, by the way, everything you worked up around the best defensive player in the league, that's over now, and you have a week to figure it out. Well, now he's got some other things that can maybe make up for that, right?
Yeah, and I think the improvement at the defensive tackle position is huge. I don't care if it was the Raiders or the 1965 Green Bay Packers. When you can get a push in the middle and stop the run with a Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Osa Odigizua combination, along with now this game, Solomon Thomas should be healthy enough to be able to play. Then the other parts, you kind of drag guys along with you, right? Maybe the defensive ends play better against the run. Donovan Ezeraku is playing as a rookie in that season opener, and you can see the progress he's making. Shamar James making progress. So yeah, it's almost a new defense, and I'm sure Matt Eberflus is glad for that. Because if you can get a push in the middle and you stop the run, then the secondary benefits from all that. And, Schottenheimer was asked about it on today, and we talked about it on our podcast with Everson Walls. So what's more important, Does the push in the middle make the secondary better, or the coverage in the secondary make the push on the line of scrimmage better? And both guys, Everson and Schottenheimer, said, got to own the line of scrimmage, because if you own the line of scrimmage, then the coverage is made much simpler.
Well, Quentin Williams and what they've done on the defensive line, obviously with the trade with Green Bay too, is Williams the best defensive or most disruptive since Leroy Glover?
You know, I wrote it, David, and that's what I said. You know,
I'm talking about with the Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't want to forget, the likes of Jay Ratliff or Jason Hatcher. Those guys were good. They were Pro Bowlers. But after that, you have to go back to Leroy Glover in his 4 seasons with the Cowboys. I believe it started in 2001, and he had 4 straight Pro Bowls. This guy, Quentin Williams, is just had just finished 3 consecutive seasons as a Pro Bowler. So it's been a while since they had somebody that impactful. And I don't think it was just against the Raiders. I think this is how he's been playing ever since he got hooked up with the Jets with Aaron Whitecotton, who now is the Cowboys defensive line coach, who had him with the Jets during those 3 Pro Bowl seasons.
Mickey, I will say this about the Raiders. That offensive line is an affront to football all the way around. I mean, I felt awful. Of course, I'm a huge Ashton Genty fan anyway, but I just felt awful for Ashton Genty and Geno Smith. Like, this is what you have to deal with week in and week out. It's not fair. It's not right that as soon as he hits the ball, he gets hit.
Well, and what happened was not only did they stop the run, they stopped them from even trying to run, and they decided the best way to get the ball in Genty's hands was to throw those little outside flares and let him go for that. And I'm sure the Cowboys were sitting there going, hey, go do that all you want. We just don't want you throwing the ball down the field. And, even though I think he had like 6 catches, something like that, but it was only for like 6 yards a catch, so it really didn't hurt him. They weren't very good. But again, Philadelphia's coming in here, and they're going. Lane Johnson's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a tackle that was hurt, and the center was in concussion protocol, and it looks like they're listing him as questionable. Supposedly he practiced full on Friday, but the 5-day practice is not that tough usually around the league.
I think it's the NFL. They do this every year, Paul. The teams that play the Cowboys lose players the weekend before, Lane Johnson, etc., and this is how they get them back in the game, so they'll be important and they get the ratings. Yeah. I'm telling you, I think this. Okay, now, Pickens is pretty good. We knew that, and no one ever doubted his talent. Obviously, he's a bad boy with CD. They need to stay away from each other. But do you need to see Pickens for the full season before you make a decision of whether or not he's being on his best behavior, or he still has a little bit of that in him where it can kind of frustrate you before you sign him to a contract extension?
You know what? He hasn't shown anything that would discourage you from signing to an extension. And I know those guys got benched the first possession of the game. CD tried to explain it the other day that they went together for dinner and they got back late and missed the curfy, right?
I don't think it's late. It was pretty early.
They were there for
I think they got back early. It's just
well, look, they didn't have their clock set right? Because they were supposed to be back at 10 o'clock Vegas time. But they were working on Central Time, which was midnight, right? So anyway, hey, Michael Irvin missed a charter flight to Detroit, right? I believe it was 1992, 1993, somewhere. I believe it was somewhere in there when Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator. The flight attendant came to Jimmy in the plane and said, Michael's not here yet. And Jimmy goes, what time are we supposed to take off? 2 o'clock. What time is it now? 2:05. Shut the door. They left Michael Irvin behind.
Wow.
He had to buy a commercial ticket one way to Detroit to get to the game. And when he got there, Jimmy called him in and said, your punishment is you are benched for the first possession. And when Norv Turner found that out, he asked Jimmy, if we kick off, is that the first possession? So that tells you how tough these punishments are, right?
Yeah,
it's like you got to make an example, right? Because if you're going to do that to your star receivers, what if the third or fourth corner, he's thinking, boy, I better not step in line because they'll cut my ass.
Yeah, like Kervin Richards.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have done that again with Emmett. What if he falls asleep in meeting?
But no, that was
get
the
him a pillow.
That was the linebacker from A&M.
John Roper.
John Roper,
yeah. Kervin had the fumble against the Bears, and he wanted to make sure that no one went into the playoffs thinking they had accomplished anything.
Yeah.
Mickey, Damarian Overshone has been through a lot of injuries in his young career, two very big ones, and has come back strong to this one. And we'll see, over the next few weeks how ready he is and how healthy hopefully he stays. It seems like a huge emotional boost to that defense too, to get him back, because they didn't have a linebacker on the roster that can do what he does.
No, you're exactly right. And he's the most likable guy on this team, right? Because all these guys saw how hard he rehabbed after his surgery that was, right at the end of December, beginning of January, and how hard he worked and how hard he tried to kind of integrate himself into the team, even though he wasn't playing. I mean, everybody's pulling for the guy. And then, he finally gets out there and plays. And listening to Schottenheimer today, it sounds like he'll still be on a pitch count going into these next two games, and then they'll see where he's at going up against Denver with a full week. Because remember, not only is this a short week getting ready for the Eagles, we didn't get back till probably people in bed till 4 or 4:30 on Tuesday morning. So you forfeited that day. You only had a walkthrough practice on Wednesday. No pads this week, no pads next week. Just because he's trying to keep them off their feet as long as he can. And think about this. Yesterday, it poured down rain all day. It was sort of drizzling when it was time for practice. And Schottenheimer decided that to keep them off the hard surface of the indoor facility, they practice on a wet field with it kind of drizzling during their hour and 15-minute workout.
Well, I remember I was coming back from a high school game. It was a Thursday night when they played Philadelphia, and they kind of were right there. Now, Jalen Hurts was able to run around him a lot, and he's not doing that as much. It seemed like he's a bus driver, not somebody that's going to pass you through, but he throws the deep ball well. He's bickering with his wide receivers, or they are with him. Dallas has still got a lot of room to make up. Is it even stupid to say that if they can win this game, they can then say, you know what, we might still have a chance to win the division, or is that just dumb?
No, I think that's kind of what the mantra is right now. C.D. Lamb might have said it best. He goes, the playoffs start for us right now. Win or go home. Now, you don't go home. In my books, going into the Raiders game, I was thinking, well, they need to get two of these three in the win column and get to 5-6-1. Well, you win the game, and now you're looking at the next three games, and it's going, well, can you win two of these next three and get to 6-6-1? And I think that's kind of the mantra they're thinking, because they have very small margin for error. I mean, 7-8 losses, you might sneak into the playoffs, but maybe not because of that tie. And they're right now got the 10th best record in the NFC. And the last playoff team's record, I believe it's 7-3, 7-4, something to that effect. And one of the teams that's in between them and the 7th spot is Carolina, which has a better record at 6-5, and they own the head-to-head tiebreak against the Cowboys. So yeah, they got a lot of work to do if they're going to get even into the conversation. So yeah, these are kind of like playoff games for them that they need to win. Now, you mentioned the Eagles and, some of their struggles. 7 of their 10 games, it was one score games, or 7 of their 8 wins, 1 score wins. So it's not like they just been pounding people. And then look at the last 2 games. They win 10-7 and 16-9 and didn't score more than 1 touchdown in each of those 2 games. So, there's a chance, right? Who knows? Who knows if that defense is for real now or if it's still, it was because of the Raiders. But the one thing that I keep, I think they can hang their hat on is they've got Dak Prescott and nobody else does. And he's been awfully good at home. You guys have probably seen this that the PR department came up with in the release that against NFC East teams, since Dak came into the league, he at home at AT&T, he's 21-2. One of the losses was his NFL debut in 2016 as a rookie in the season opener against the Giants, and I think it was a 1-point loss. And then it was the next year they lost to the Eagles, and that's it. And I thought Sirianni had a good answer in his press conference. I think it was today when he was asked about the 21-2 record, and he pointed out, well, okay, that's fine, but he wasn't playing against the 2025 Eagles, right? Well, the thing to remember when everybody tells you the Cowboys have lost the last 3 in a row to the Eagles, Dak didn't play in either of the 2 games last year.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. It's good to see you again. It's been too long. Thank you, Mickey.
And I dressed up for you.
You put the tie on. You did. It's good to see you. My man, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com with us on Fridays as the Cowboys play Philadelphia coming up this Sunday afternoon. All right, when we come back, let's go back and rewind and go over the statement and decision today by Baylor and President Dr. Linda Livingstone to retain Dave Aranda. Some of your feedback, some of the emails, our opinions and feedback too, and what does it actually mean? We'll do that and more. This is 365 Sports. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Ted Teague, General Manager and CEO. I got to tell you this about Ted. He sent me a text. It was yesterday afternoon. He goes, when we were discussing the Dave Aranda, the future, et cetera, he goes, well, doesn't he have one of the better classes that Baylor's had in a long time as far as commitments that will sign in early December? Yes. My response to him was, yes, and that's true, but you really can't allow that to hold you hostage. And I don't know if that was really a part of the decision by Dr. Livingstone or not, but that was my opinion. But I'll give you an opinion about his dealership. Great stuff. Black Friday, full steam ahead. Alan Samuels in Waco. You want 0% on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab for 72 months. 0% financing for 72 months. Or you can go 3.9% for 72 months and still snag 10% below the MSRP plus $2,000 in select bonus cash. How about this? The 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee 2-row Laredo priced at $33,990. And if that's too much, you can get that, last 2025 Jeep Compass Limited for $33,000, a little bit less than that, but still a great SUV. Don't forget the Ram trucks, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, so many different times, including what they have right now, which is Ram Trucks, the 2026 model Ram sold between now and the end of the year. An extension you get through, well, it's actually since September of earlier this fall, and 10 years, 100,000-mile warranties. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340, east of 84 in Waco.
You don't want to miss our best price deals during the Black Friday sales event at Alan Samuels. This month, you can save big on the truck you've been looking for, like the new Rams. Designed to be durable, functional, and stylish, Ram trucks give you that first-class feel. With premium options like luxurious leather trim seating, surround view cameras, and more. Shop our great selection in-store or online today. Alan Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends. Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code SPORTS365 to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code SPORTS365. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up. 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
With over 25 years of excellence in IT, Carrion Solutions is your trusted technology partner. From managed IT services to cutting-edge cybersecurity, our expert team delivers tailored solutions that drive success. Our portfolio includes products such as Veeam, Bitdefender, Microsoft, Cisco, and Fortinet. Call David Carrion and his team of experts. Call 888-522-2221 or visit us at carrionsolutions.com.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
We appreciate you in the chat. I had to put one of our chatters into the timeout corner just because it was just smothering everybody else's comments, so we did that. Here's from Kyle Visser. Smoak, any chance Livingstone put out a trial balloon just to see the reaction before an AD was hired? Dr. Livingstone today with a statement that Baylor's retaining Dave Aranda, even with the game tomorrow and another game after that. There will not be a change as head football coach at Baylor during the offseason.
Well, I think people are reading word for word what she said, and I've seen several people who are saying, well, she didn't technically say he'll be the head coach in 2026, that it says we're pursuing an athletic director, and that person will then be allowed to make a decision. But my thing with that would then be, then don't put out a statement.
Yeah.
Like if you're not, because the only way that statement can be read, especially when people are as emotional as they are, is not, oh, well, look at the fine print where it says she's going to let the process play out. You just don't put out a statement. You don't give people a reason to even get up in arms about anything. So, yeah, technically, I guess they could go that way and it wouldn't go against what she said. But then I think if that were the case, then that was idiotic to release a letter to the public saying, hey, Dave Aranda's sticking around and we're going to go hire a new AD. And then what you would also do by doing that is, if we're thinking that, then surely the assistant coaches and the players all think that he's coming back. They're not going, oh, well, you know what, guys, on their flight to freaking Tucson, well, it didn't technically say that he's going to be back next year. Like, no, that reads like the assumption should be that he's coming back next year, because otherwise there's no reason to say anything whatsoever. You let the season play out and let the speculation occur, but you don't then sit there and make yourself look like an idiot if you turn around in 2 weeks and you fire him.
You can't. If you pump fake and did that, then all the people that said they'll never buy another thing, Baylor, would probably jump right on board, because fans can be that way. Now, again, she released the statement, and part of it, of course, there was a bullet point here and there about why. Part of it was the challenges of where college football is right now with the coaching carousel where it is. Another one is the fact that Mack Rhodes is gone as the AD and they are in search of an athletic director, and that at some point, if we're at this time next year, the new AD would then have a chance to kind of marinate, soak in everything, and then maybe make a decision whether it's to retain him again if they're a lot better or not. But the bottom line is he's back. I really did think that they would lose in Tucson, and maybe they'll play up to their capabilities, get a break or two, that Sunday afternoon at some point there would be a press conference to announce that he was no longer the head coach at Baylor. Dave Aranda has been here 6 years, the best year ever. Some frustrating years too. Baylor's had a few of those. I'm stunned by it. I was very surprised by it. In fact, I had to double check to make sure I wasn't being faked out by a fake email, but it was Brent Ingram who sent it out. So here's what you can do. You can be mad, you can be frustrated, and I get it if you are. But I am at least happy that two major decisions, whether you like them or not, have been made in the last 24 hours. Mack Rhodes gone. We knew that was coming. Dave Aranda is not. We did not know about that one. And there's not this little what is the future, because the athletic department and football program don't need anything else that's uneasy.
Yeah, they don't. But this is, I mean, they didn't do themselves any favors. Like they really didn't. And maybe and it sounds
by
like
retaining Aranda.
Yeah, I mean, like as far as that goes, they didn't do themselves any favors when it comes to the court of public opinion. And Dr. Livingstone said as much in her statement. She's like, I know it's going to elicit some reactions. I think Baylor has chronically underestimated how their fan base feels about a lot of things.
I've started to believe that they just don't care, Paul.
Yeah, I mean I
just don't think they care.
Yeah, I think that I think the new athletic director has to show that they do and show the leadership does, because it seems a lot of like pretty small asks. You know, can we get better in-game experience? Can we do something different with the tailgating, which I know like costs money and all these other things, seem to be met with like, yeah, you get what you get. Like, and that's how I would feel if I was a consumer of this. Now, look, I've never paid for a Baylor football ticket in my life. I've been a Baylor basketball season ticket holder for a couple of years. I did that for a couple of years because my wife's a huge basketball fan.
She's a huge KU
fan. But she did. We went to other games.
I know.
But yeah, so we did that, and I have a pretty good understanding of how the university works, and I've just never felt, and I can't compare it to many other places from a buyer standpoint, but I've never felt that their mission as a university was to enhance the customer experience.
I'll put it like I put it earlier, and I have no skin in the game for the university. I just happen to live here, and they're the team that's here and to cover them, and it's been a fun experience. It's been a roller coaster, which is covering any college athletics program for long enough. You're going to have your ups and downs and everything in between. I'm appreciative of my time and everything, but I'm not like somebody who has any skin in the game, like I said. So I'm pretty just neutral on the whole thing. And early on when they took over, especially after the scandal, you could understand just not doing everything at the whim of the fans because they needed some authority to just kind of take over and get things back in line initially. But then over time, it's almost like they never gave anything back to the fans, and only did they when they had to because they needed to pump them back up because the product wasn't good enough. So like, well, the football sucks. So here's your black uniforms you've been wanting for like 5 years that we couldn't do initially because we had to distance ourselves as far as possible from Art Briles in the cool years. And I understand that to some degree, like the PR that needed to occur initially at least. But did they do the black uniforms the way that people wanted them to? No, they did them their way. Did you do the alternates the way people want? No, you did it your way. Did you do the redesign the way people? No, you did it your way. And like it's always their way. And it's not really what the fans want. It's like one toe in of what the fans want and you should just be happy with it. That's how I always feel. It's like, yes, here's your black uniforms, but not the way you wanted them. And I keep going to that example because it's just the easiest one to make, where they gave you a little bit, but not exactly what you want. It's like, you wanted chicken parm, but here's a Chick-fil-A sandwich. It's still chicken, but it's like, no, I wanted chicken parm. Yeah. I didn't want a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Only unless it's from, what's the name of your favorite?
I would even say it's probably worse than that. It's like, hey, can I get a little extra pickles? And they give you like a pickle.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I wanted a lot of pickles. Like, give me a lot of pickles.
But you said pickle, and we gave pickles, so technically you have to be happy with that, and that's all you're getting. And like, that's how it feels, is like, give a little, but don't give everything. And that's a part that I would be very frustrated as a fan by that whole scenario.
I agree 100%. I don't know if they ever are on the same page when it comes to, since like the last 10 years, when it comes to a blackout or whiteout. There seems to be this constant, like two gears grinding together in a car that's running poorly. Did you watch? And Texas Tech had a stripe. That game, the game with BYU, I believe it was, they striped the stadium. It was freaking like Picasso had painted a picture. You don't see that very often.
Well, even when they had great crowds, they were able to do that successfully.
Okay, so here's
and listen, I'm not just saying that about the fans. I'm saying it about both. The Baylor, how they put things together. Who are they listening? Are they listening? And the fans who just want to bitch and moan about a lot of things because they're frustrated.
Well, part of the thing was, going back to the blackout, Craig, Baylor not only didn't give it to them for a couple of years, they tried to push the gold out on them, and the fans were like, we don't really like this color.
No, we don't want yellow.
We don't want yellow. We don't really like this color. We miss the older gold. So, we don't really want to do that. So I remember they had this big, because they had a bye week before, and then they had the gold out, and they had this huge push. It was family weekend. They were going to do the gold out. Gold out, gold out, gold out, gold out. And everybody I talked to that was a student or anything else was like, nah, I'm going to wear what I'm going to wear. If it happens to be gold, okay. And you get to the stadium, and no one got that memo.
It looked it was a mixture of a lot of it.
I got that the Nike rebrand made sense at the time to just start a new era, but also to get everybody on the same page, because for those that don't know, and I'm sure there are some programs in the Big 12 that had the same thing, where like softball had Adidas and football had Nike and basketball had Under Armour, and it was just like different shades of purple or whatever your school colors are and everything. And so that's a no-no. It's a no-no.
Oh, I get fined $10.
So there was that, and so like it made sense to get everybody under one umbrella. But like then they chose like the absolute wrong combination of colors that people wanted. It was like they did mustard yellow instead of old gold, and it was their shade of green, and it was Nike's shades of whatever. And it's like, I don't want to get into this fandom like striping the stadium and all that. Like, that's irrelevant. And if they were good, they'd stripe the stadium well. My point is, the administration has kind of, for the last few years, ever since they had a little bit of success, acted like they know the end all be all, and they listen, but they don't ever really hear the fans. Or if they do, they don't care. And they do it their way anyways. And then they give little concessions of like, look what we gave you this. It's like 2 years after we've been asking for this, and only because you need us to show up because it's the product
Here's
sucks.
A treat. Here's a treat.
Exactly.
And listen, and we're not behind the scenes when these meetings are going on, nor do I want to be. I'm not a Baylor alum fan. None of us are. Like
no, but I'm a neutral observer that sees it from a different standpoint.
So we're not biased one way or the other. It just seems like there's a disconnect. And if there was a disconnect this year, what's it going to be like with the retaining of Aranda if something doesn't change with the roster, players, or whatever between now and next August?
I think about the way that Baylor's kind of fan experience has gone lately, and everything's more expensive, but you kind of get less. It's like the airlines. Like, can you think of an airline innovation that's made you enjoy flying more?
I can't think of anything think of the TV companies aren't giving us anything.
That's the whole thing.
Say that again.
An innovation with the airline that's made you enjoy flying more.
Yeah, there's places. No.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
it's
not.
No.
Yeah, it's constantly kind of gotten worse over the last 25 years. Well, with Baylor, I'll use the tailgating experience as an example. They had a great scene. COVID happened, and they brought in a third-party company. Now, that's all well and good, but they started charging people more and giving them less. And so that's automatically going to make you mad as a consumer. And then when it comes to kind of listening to the fans about little things they want, we've been through that. And so that's why I think the decision to retain Dave Aranda is super risky, given the fact that you have already pushed them so far to the brink.
Well,
you are daring them to do something that they will easily do.
Yeah, there's no like, oh, guess what, guys? Gold uniforms next year. It's people like, we don't care at this point. We don't care anymore.
You
like,
can get to a point where the disconnect is so bad, it doesn't matter what you want to give them as a treat.
And that's my point. It's not about fan experience anymore. It's not about all that stuff's out the window now. It's like, dude, win, and that's it. And if you don't win, and even if you do that, it would have to be at such a level, like double-digit wins in the Big 12 title game, which why would we think that would be the case next year? The roster, I don't see any reason why it would be better this year or better next year than it is this year. So that's the thing is like, what do you, that was my big point all along was I didn't know if they'd make a move or not. I felt like they needed to, but I also didn't know the circumstances as far as the money and the timing and how that affected. And clearly those are having effects to some degree. But yeah, I just don't know what you rally around at this point because there's nothing to rally around.
Right now there's not, unless they would have won the last two games, and it still would not rally anybody around, even if they had a bowl game to go to. If they win one of the next two, there's going to be a spattering of people there. So how about recruiting? You cannot allow a recruiting class to hold you hostage. But I did get a note. Lake Belton's head coach, Brian Cope, they have a commitment from Davion Peters. He said, what's going to happen with Aranda? And last night I told him, Brian, I don't know. No one's told me anything in particular, but I just can't imagine that it's going to go on as it is. And then I said to him earlier today, by the way, Dave's being retained. He goes, what changed? What changed? The AD, that's one thing that changed. But other than that, not really much at all. Jamarian Carlton, the highly level defensive lineman. I got this from Greg Willey. He covers Temple. He thinks that this will be a big deal in Carlton staying committed and signing in early December with Aranda and the staff staying intact, that he is one of their highest rated recruits.
I mean,
coming in.
That's all well and good. And I mean, there's a lot of other stuff going on too. So like, but I mean, this is obviously a big deal because people have been waiting a decision of some sort on Aranda. But I mean, dude, the day of like maintaining your high school class is just, that's not where we are anymore.
Not
you know?
with the way the transfer portal
like,
can, yeah. I
cool.
agree.
So like maybe, and by the way, who have they developed? I probably should have stopped talking because this will be used by TCU and Texas Tech to like just here Jamarian, here's this guy talking about this. But like, what have they done to develop anybody? And how long will that take? 2, 3? Okay, cool. Let's give Dave 3 more years to get the freshmen ready to play maybe at a high level. Like,
And
that's
by
the other
time
part.
they do, they'll be transferring. Garrett, am I right? Yep.
Am I talking straight here, Gary?
yeah,
Dude,
you
I was
are.
literally thinking the same
Yeah.
thing. You can bring all these guys in, and if you look, you brought in Taz Williams. You brought in where are they at? Are they on the field? Because they're not. They're not
getting
being properly developed.
Yeah.
All right, let me read a few more responses. Some were talking about making sure that we continue to ask for Dr. Livingstone to join the show. I could get why she wanted a day off. She did release the statement, but I wish she would have been available to be a part of the show today. And here's from Wes Thomas. Although with Rhodes exiting the picture, the administration doesn't have a lot of choice. I don't like it, but her points in the statement are valid. However, they're just kicking the inevitable can down the road. And if our highly talented players decide to leave anyway and not just worried about the incoming freshman class.
Yes, let's just say this plainly and clearly. Mack Rhodes screwed Baylor royally with the whole incident here of late. He screwed up any timeline, any chance to make any major changes, because then they had to suddenly pivot all of their attention to him and handling that whole situation these last couple of weeks. And then by the time they did, the money was different. The circumstances were different. And now all of a sudden, like, do we need to start a coaching search with no athletic director? So he royally screwed them on his way out. He did. And that's the bottom line. And so all that's true. I think the main point you can take away is it's a pickle they were put in, and there's no good decision to be made. Like if you went ahead and just moved on from Aranda, that doesn't ensure that you would have had successful, but there are people that they just want change. They don't even care. Now, they'd be the same ones bitching 2 years from now when Eric Morris doesn't pan out because they had a hurried hire and got the wrong AD or something. So they just were put in an impossible situation here where there was no good exit ramp, really.
No, and what did we say when I went through which of these bad options is the best option? Remember, we went through that. None of the options that were on the table because of the Mac leaving or fired or resigning, whatever, there really wasn't like, no, that's it. That's it. Because all of them, no matter which one you choose, is still a bad option.
Well, I will say this. Even without an AD, there's a path to do this and hire a new coach. But the question that Baylor, and when people asked me about, a month ago, 2 months ago, about Dave Aranda being retained or not, I said, look, I don't know how much it will matter until they address the issues that also surround the football program that are outside the coach's control. Like, how much are you going to support this program from a university standpoint without having to ask for more money? Like, what is your commitment? What are the changes you're going to make? What ways are you going to look inward? Just listing all the things that we just talked about a few minutes ago, what ways are you going to look inward to make sure that when that new coach comes in, whenever that is, are the recruits going to have a good time on their visit? Is the game atmosphere going to be fun? Are the fans going to be happy with what the product is outside of the game when they get there, so that when they're at the game, they're already in a good mood? Like, all of those things, are you going to do that? And they haven't been doing that either. So are they going to do that for the next coach? Because if they don't, it's not going to matter.
I remember when they were rolling, and you had other team sports bringing recruits to the game. And man, that was a
10 years
performance.
ago.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I remember that. It's been a while. Here's an email. The retaining of Dave Aranda sends the message that Baylor is comfortable accepting mediocrity. It risks alienating alumni, discouraging players and recruits, and undermining the pride many of us have worked hard to build. Plus, so has the program. Baylor football should be at a point strength for the university and not a source of frustration and embarrassment. I had this email.
And boredom. How about that? And boredom.
Yeah. How about this?
That's my biggest emotion with this whole thing right now.
Is Baylor, the football coach, or the AD, the most important hire?
Well, it's the AD to me, because
he's to work with all the other coaches.
They got to work with all the other coaches, and you've got a fantastic men's basketball coach that deserves everything you've got to give him. And that's the other thing they're not doing as well. With the football program failing, they're not giving all that they've got to give to the other programs. They're not doing that.
Well, Scott Drew has worked his ass off to make sure that the NIL is there with people that he has gotten close to. I think, thank God, Kentucky's not open now.
Yeah, but he absolutely has done all that, and he still has a fan base that's still like not 10 toes down with him all the time, which I'll never understand. But but if he can't control that. He can't control those other things. The big thing that every other coach in every other sport just is like, man, I hate that I have to rely on somebody else, but by God, football needs to be good.
Chris Bartles, BU settling on Golden Corral skirt steak over Del Frisco's filet to save $1. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they had the option for that, but I do feel like it's just boredom and malaise with the football side of things right now. Never been less fun to cover this team, and I think that probably shows for those who do cover them on a daily basis still. And, it does feel like kicking the can down the road, but it is what it is, guys. So they made that choice, and maybe somebody's right. The wording doesn't technically say, and Dave Aranda loses these last 2 games and he's out, but then sending out the letter was the dumbest thing you could have possibly done, because now you pissed off people for no reason when you could have just said nothing and let them talk for 2 more weeks. So I don't buy that's the outcome. I think that they are bringing him back, and that's what you're indicating by sending this out. That's what everybody's taking it as. Yep. And so it's just another offseason of, all right, here we go again, and another occasional interview where it inspires nothing, it connects with no one, and it's just there. Yeah. And so that's all I got to say today for the rest of it.
They're just fine. From Mark, David, did anyone ask Mac, you think, for a list of coaches? Well, yeah, you always have the list, and I'm sure that was shared even on his way out the door. And maybe even in meetings before any of the other stuff that flared up that eventually led him to resigning as the AD. All right, when we come back, one other note. No, we'll do this another time. The Desmond Howard comments about Steve Sarkisian. Do you have that, Brandon? It's just a quick note. We mentioned what Sarkisian was talking about yesterday, but then he took a pot shot at Desmond. He probably earned it. Directs a comment at Desmond Howard, who mentioned something about he was had a note, he's going to leave. Think about something else when you're taking your trash out. Now, do you think that College Game Day, in their lily white type of way they are protected, will bring this up tomorrow?
I mean, I don't think they will.
I don't think it does them any good to bring this up. What, to get Desmond to say, well, screw you, coach. Here's my trash. I mean,
he's studying the Big 12 teams anyway. So
it does them absolutely. I mean, he's not watched a lick of Big 12 football probably all year. That's fine.
Well, he was at one game. We know for sure. I know what you're saying.
He's all over it. No, I don't think this matters. I like that Sark fired back, though, because people just talk. And I know we're in that same business, but try to at least have some if we're going to pronounce something, at least have a reason behind it. Whereas I think Desmond was just riffing, and I can tell Sark's just pissed, and he probably came across that video at the wrong time, and it stuck with him, and he felt the need to say something because, again, he's trying to maintain his recruiting class, and he's trying to make it clear he's trying to make it clear he's not going anywhere. So I'm not the biggest Des fan in the world, so good on Sark.
I'm not at all, and I have personal reasons for that. Monster Energy, the newest sponsor. What a great pickup by the Big 12.
It is terrible. It is terrible.
All right.
Here, Monster Energy. I hope you burn.
All right. When we come back, Axum Jacks, by the way, for winning last night to win the Southland Conference outright. Paul's top 5. We'll have quizzes, poll results, and spin the wheel. This is 365 Sports. And IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas marketplace is an incredible business. If you are a patient because something is bothering you, hurting you, not just sore, but like maybe even you can't sleep at night, whether it's your hip, your lower back, which might be because of why your hip is screwed up, or a knee, your neck, whatever it might be, maybe an elbow, MRI machine, a state-of-the-art imaging machine inside Ideal MRI, and they will only charge you $497 or less every single time since the day they opened up their doors. Dr. Rob Maxey with a group of great partners, making sure you, the customer, you're going to pay them. They're a business. They want to make money, but they also are doing it at a price that is more than half of what the average is around the country for an MRI at $1,100 inside the Central Texas marketplace off I-35 in Waco.
Hey guys, I'm Abby Dommett, 2023 CrossFit Games athlete, and I use Airwave because it helps me breathe easier and stay more relaxed during my workouts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very discreet.
As life goes on, it settles into patterns. But it doesn't have to go that way. You just have to do one thing. Get out of the house. Get out of your comfort zone. Leave room for the unexpected.
American Tourister.
And pace.
What do you want? What's that really good non-alcoholic beer I keep hearing about?
Do you have that really great non-alcoholic beer that I keep seeing?
You mean athletic? You're looking at it.
It's athletic. Ask for it.
Meet Beagle, your financial concierge. Find your old 401k. Discover your 401k hidden fees. Roll over and save thousands. Unlock your 401k and IRA. MeetBeagle.com.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5.
Welcome into the Top 5. I'm Paul Catalina. We're brought to you by Flag and Anthem. Go to flagandanthem.com. Use our promo code 365sports. Today, QBs, I think, will be in the portal. I think so. You never know. Again, I'm giving you a lot of thinks and probablys lately, but I'm not an absolutist. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. And I am not a Sith Lord. I think you can tell by how handsome I am. None of them are good looking, right? Like, that's another thing that George Lucas did. He made sure that none of the Sith were like hot. You know, you were like, oh, I don't want to be that guy. Look at the Emperor. He's gross. Number 5, Sam Levitt. it's trending that way. It's unfortunate. I'm not sure where Sam is going to go if he does go, but leaving Kenny Dillingham, I think, is I'll just call it a choice. One of the best quarterback coaches in the country. Sam Leavitt already transferred in there from Michigan State and went to play at Arizona State. And remember, we didn't even think he was going to be the starter. It was likely going to be Jaden Rashada. Well, Jaden Rashada is off to another place, and Sam Leavitt's been there winning a Big 12 title. And if not for an injury-plagued season this year, Arizona State's likely in the hunt right now. But it's trending that way. It's got all the telltale signs of a family member saying it's not to that point yet, and that Pete Nakos and Steve Wiltfong don't have the right information, but neither of them have backed off it, and probably because they have really good information on that, because that's what those guys do every single day. It just might have leaked out before the Leavitt family wanted it to. Number 4, Drew Mestamaker. I would love for him to stay at North Texas his whole career and set records there in all of those things. But I do think that Eric Morris is going to be at a different job next year. And I think that part of the charm of having Eric Morris, a brilliant quarterback developer, come to your school is that he could bring Drew Mestamaker with him. And, if you're Drew Mestamaker, there's a lot of money to be made out there. So let's see what happens with Eric Morris and Drew Mestamaker. But I do not see him rolling back into a G6 team next year, given the amount of money that's going to be thrown at him. Heck, even someone like Arizona State, even if he doesn't follow Eric Morris, if Sam Leavitt leaves, they're likely going to have to get into the bidding for a transfer quarterback. Number 3, Talon Green. There's been no scuttlebutt about this, but I'm just doing the math. A, Bobby Petrino is not going to be the coach there next year. B, we don't know who it's going to be. C, he's an SEC quarterback that puts up big numbers, but is in a really rough spot right now. And a lot of coaches have to be looking at him going, can you imagine what I could do with that guy if he came here? Well, there will be open quarterback spots all over the SEC next year if he wants to stay in that league, or all over the country. So don't be surprised to see him pick a third school. Remember, he came to Arkansas from Boise State and cash in big, or use that to cash in big for the new coach at Arkansas. Number 2, Avery Johnson. Yesterday, we talked about Chris Kleiman's potential hot seat. I think that profoundly affects Avery Johnson. I think they have a great relationship. I don't think that if Avery Johnson had all things being equal would want to leave, but I do think that he is going to at the very least capitalize on being a talented guy who hasn't hit his potential yet and make some money in the portal. Where does he fit? Depends on who the coaches are, where, and next year. But one thing I would watch is if Colin Klein gets a head coaching job in the Big 12 or somewhere like it, Avery Johnson could be that guy. We'll see. I would not be surprised also to see him go to Oklahoma State and play for Alex Golish, because I think that's one heck of a player-coach match if Alex Golish goes to Oklahoma State. Number 1, DJ Lagway. I would think that the new coach would want to keep DJ Lagway and throw a ton of development behind him. He's making great money at Florida, but it just feels to me, given how much he struggled this year, that he might want a fresh start. And given how highly he was recruited, he will still have his pick. And I know that most of this can probably be blamed on up and down coaching for his 2 years at Florida. Next year, he's draft eligible. And depending on who that coach is, he's going to want to maximize that draft eligibility, even if he has to do it for 2 more years. That's going to do it for the top 5. The carnival begins now.
It's a jump cut, by the way.
This wheel is
you've been saying that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's getting rougher and rougher. Okay, when you look up college football in the dictionary, which player do you imagine being there?
The first name that just popped into my head just a second, you said player, though, but I thought of Barry Switzer.
Okay, well, that works too, Coach. Yeah.
You want to know, because of my age, the player I think of who was the first great player I ever watched in college football. This is my last Friday. What are you laughing at, guys? What
you can
O.J. Simpson in a USC uniform. Swear to God, I mean, got to remember.
Yeah, he was a badass.
Heisman Trophy national champion.
You can separate and just say, like, yeah, he was a great football player.
Yeah,
and you don't have to, like, get into the side roads of everything, obviously. But, yeah, O.J. Simpson was a great football player, and a lot of people that watched him really enjoyed watching him.
What happened after that?
Nothing.
Okay.
Big Hollywood career, and then just quietly went into the sunset.
Oh, yeah. No, I know he really liked golf.
Yeah.
So
he liked a lot of things.
Yeah. And hated
all right.
a couple.
So that's who I think of. Tim Tebow for you.
No. You know what? Like, I could not give that answer. Like, there would be days where I think of it because he is, like, you know, kind of the poster child for, like, rah-rah college football. You know, look at the good things and not the bad. But I was going to say Tommy Frazier.
Okay, yeah.
To me, it's Tommy Frazier. And I think of that because he was like
the last time they were good.
Well, no.
Eric Crouch won the Heisman.
Yeah, he was kind of the last or one of the last of a breed of the option quarterbacks who were the best players in the country.
Yes.
Like and he was a better passer than I think he'd get credit for. And he would be an amazing quarterback now, and they would develop him a different way. But, you know, there's a path. If he had played 10 years later, they would have just moved him to running back. They wouldn't have developed
No, he would have
him.
played at Army, Navy, or Air Force.
Badass triple option quarterback.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, they basically stomped out Spurrier in the last national championship, and then the fun and gun and all that started taking over, and the SEC basically had Florida, Tennessee reel off titles, and the Big 12 had some OU and Texas moments, and then, you know, eventually it's been really what it's been for a while now, outside of like the NIL aspects of it all and the realignment aspects of it all. But yeah, that's when you could just be a running quarterback. You didn't have to have the ability to be great throwing it around. Although he was probably better than given credit for, but it wasn't his strong suit, obviously, whatsoever.
Especially if they got behind. It was
but they also like here's the
which
thing.
was like never hardly at all.
I bet if you asked Tommy Frazier, he would say like, yeah, I think I could have gotten better at it. But if you were Tom Osborne in Nebraska, why would you waste your time?
Yeah.
You know, like
but also the offenses are all different now. You
Yeah.
didn't have the spread running rampant and being all over every Texas high school where they're producing quarterbacks at like 100 of them every year, kind of a thing.
They would Osborne have recruited a dual threat.
Yeah.
Because you get as much yards rushing now than ever before.
Well, you know, I'll tell you this, and like Tim Tebow was a great player and won 2 national titles, and the year after he won the Heisman when they were an absolute juggernaut, he was fantastic. But if you put Tommy Frazier in Urban Meyer's offense in 2008, I mean, because Tebow can't throw. Like, he can't. Tommy was just a little erratic. That would have been – I mean, they wouldn't have lost that game to Mississippi State where he had to make the speech. They wouldn't have.
One of the stats and we move on to the quizzes, but that Nebraska averaged throwing the ball about 15 to 18 times a game during the Osborne, even when they ran the triple option or the I formation.
Yeah, strong arm. He could throw it if he needed to. It wasn't his forte. Obviously, he was an incredible running quarterback. Yeah.
Others said Smokey, surprised you didn't say Ndamukong Suh. Paul, that's one of your favorites. But there we are. Reggie Bush and some other answers. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, first trivia question. Which team won a last-second Hail Mary versus defending champs? Miracle in Miami. Oh, that's Boston College.
Yeah, Doug Flutie. It probably won him a Heisman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
November 23rd, Doug Flutie, 63-yard touchdown to Gerard Phelan as time expired, beating Miami 47-45. Hail Mary helped Flutie win the Heisman, as remember, one of the greatest moments in college football history. The win sparked the Flutie effect, boosting applications to Boston College, and a statue of Flutie making the iconic pass now stands outside of Alumni Stadium. Now they're suffering the Bill O'Brien effect, which is lowering applications to Boston College, I think, at a rapid rate.
Yeah.
But, Flutie, an icon in college. I mean, that could have been an answer for a lot of people.
Phelan was like falling into the end zone, and the ball found his stomach.
If you had asked me the CFL, I would have also said Doug Flutie.
That's exactly right.
No, I mean he was one of the greatest CFL quarterbacks of all time. He had a nice little end run in the NFL.
Had a little NFL moment there at the end.
The Bears? Is it with the Bears?
Well, no, he was with the Bears at first, but when he came in and led the Bills to the playoffs.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bills, 6-5 now, or whatever.
Flutie flakes and all. That.
Another one.
Okay. In the now defunct College All-Star game, College Football All-Stars played against which type of team each year? The reigning champs, NFL rookies, reigning NFL champs, or retirees? I believe it was the rookies, right, Smokey?
I think it's the NFL champions, the reigning NFL champions.
Okay.
So they play the Super Bowl winners?
I think, well, remember for a while it wasn't even a Super Bowl, but I want to think it was the reigning NFL champions.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea.
We'll go with you because it's not been a thing since we've been alive. There we go, Smokey. All right.
Damn right.
1976.
Yeah, that's who they used to play. It was always weird, but yeah, they would never do that now and haven't, like you said, for a long, long time.
The Chicago
Although
Charities.
I would love to see it just for all the idiots that go, man, Alabama could beat the Browns, dude. Like, I'm telling you, man. Like, no, they could not.
From 1934 to 1976, the Chicago Charities College All-Star Game matched top college seniors against the defending NFL champions. Over 42 games, the pros won 31, while college All-Stars had 9 wins and 2 ties. The final 1976 game played in torrential rain and flooded field caused chaos at Soldier Field.
It sure did.
Ultimately, the game was discontinued due to NFL coaches' reluctance to play top draft picks and rising costs that it made it non-viable.
No, I mean, when you have guys opting out of bowl games and you have guys who are sitting down, it was fun to watch, though. It really was. It was entertaining, but nope, it's done.
I just imagine the guy who was in charge every year at the luncheon being like, "Welcome to Chicago. This year's game is super exciting. We've got the defending NFL champion Cleveland Browns here with Otto Graham."
What was Norm's real name in Cheers?
It was Norm.
Yeah, George Wentz.
George Wentz.
Yeah. It's just going to be great. Yeah.
You're saying his character in Cheers like his name was Norm.
Yeah.
All right.
George Wentz. Yeah.
We now go to the poll results.
What's your excitement level for Dave Aranda's returning?
See that
Yeah,
all the
6,
non-Baylor
7.
fans voted for 9 to 10.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any
There
of
was
them.
a Texas Tech fan in my timeline on Twitter that said, we love this we love this decision.
TCU fans as well, but I will say, I think go ahead and start forming that hot seat talk for next year. Sonny Dykes, Lance Leipold, Chris Kleiman, Dave Aranda. Go ahead and put them all on a line. I think that'll all be very much to the same boat.
36% the winner at 0-2. 3-5 had a little bit more optimism.
So 67%, 2/3, not good.
Yeah. Cautiously optimistic at 17%. Good for you guys, and that 15%, I promise you, is not Baylor fans.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've gone over all the reasons as to why it can make sense if you look at it from a certain angle and what they're probably trying to do. But it's just, man, if you've been around, like I used to cover this team like white on rice, and I've been driven to absolute just apathy about the entire thing. It's not fun. It's not fun to cover.
It's contagious as hell.
Yeah, and I know I'm not alone in that, and the evidence is in the stands. It's not a fun brand very often, if at all. And I think the next head coach, because there will be a next head coach eventually, can't just like hide out in his cave or very rarely speak, or when he does, just kind of tell stories and everything. They need somebody to fire people to F up. And I don't mean that like they have to go get Joey McGuire or like some huge rah-rah guy or anything, but it can't be like, we're going to make a hire that outsmarts everybody.
And
like
he can't change who he is.
No,
at his age.
look, I like Aranda,
Yeah.
but I think, dude, you've had 6 years. It's like at this point, it's not saying anything negative to say like you've kind of shown what you've got, and I don't think 7 years is going to change the previous 6. That's all.
He's fired coordinators. He's fired others. He's made changes. He's taken over the defense. He also has gotten much less available to talk to the media in one-on-ones other than the pressers, which you can't hear, even though I have hearing aids that are trying to help me
Here's
out.
the other thing. Just because you want to do it and just because you can do it doesn't mean you're good at it. Like, not everybody is a good head coach. Just some guys aren't. And at least in this position, I don't think he's a good head coach, at least at this point in time. Doesn't mean he can't be somewhere else at some point, but not everybody's cut out for it. And, like, that's just the reality of it. Not everybody's supposed to be a CEO of a $1 million corporation,
look, situations are different. Like, Bill Belichick was unsuccessful in Cleveland. They fired him. He became the most successful NFL head coach of all time, but it doesn't mean that it translates. Like, everything when it comes to sports success depends on so many factors.
Pre-NIL, Aranda would be just fine.
Yeah.
Post-NIL, I don't think that it works.
Yeah.
S. Michael DeHart, by the way, wanted to bring this up. West Virginia beat Boston College all 4 years that Flutie was there. Good for you. Thank
Go
you.
Ears.
Yeah. All right, here's another one. In an alternate universe, if number 24 Tulane and number 11 BYU clashed in a one-off showdown, who comes out on top?
That's the media who would get to write about Jake Retzloff playing his old team and the Bear Bachmeier comparisons. But yes, I would take BYU in this matchup without hesitation.
I would say that bowl game matchup is probably not far off from happening either.
It will depend. BYU needs to win out to even make the playoff, and then Tulane obviously has to do as well.
No, I'm just saying in
a regular bowl. I mean,
game,
if I'm a bowl game and I'm like the whatever potato bowl, and I've got these two as options, I think it'd be a bowl game that has more story than most of them will. And so, that would be a fun narrative to have for a bowl game, certainly. Yeah.
All right. By the way, back to the part that old NFL game against the college all-stars. The college all-stars were going to be NFL players, right? So that was never going to happen. And unless it is an SEC team, they could beat NFL teams like you brought up earlier, that they would they would not beat the Browns or the Titans or the Dolphins or the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I'm Ed Witnowski here and really enjoyed this year's team. And thanks to our sponsor, Al's Italian Beef. Make sure to get down to Al's.
What was the name of that great steak restaurant we went to at the draft?
Gibson's.
All right.
Yep.
Andrew, is that it? What a day for you today. Thank you very much. He's a little sarcastic with me. We'll fix that attitude by Monday. Logan is here today. Logan Bagessi. And also Garrett Ross and Brandon Rowe for Craig Smoak and Paul Catalina. Thank you. What a day it's been. We'll be back Monday. See what we have. Evidence in college football. Good night.